with anyone and help me with whatever financing I needed.
Wow, it does sound like they know what they are doing.
Their family has been in the car business for over 30 years, and they're excited about being in Memphis.
Where are they?
5095 Covington Way, and their phone number is 901-623-7180.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
If you need glass replaced, there's only one name you need to know. Ben Swinger Glass, the largest full-service glass company in the U.S. They've been an industry leader for over 125 years. For all your residential, commercial, or auto glass needs, Ben Swinger Glass is the name you need to know. 24-hour emergency service for all commercial customers, plus a nationwide warranty on all professionally installed glass. 2 Memphis locations, one in Midtown on Hollywood Street across from the Liberty Bowl, and one in Cordova off Germantown Parkway next to the Fox and Hound. Visit their website, benswingerglass.com. Ben Swinger Glass.
Rocking around, the Kia rides have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South. Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event. Command the season. And gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today. If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP $20,625. Sold M7755 MSRP $20,315, K5 MG 003,199, MSRP $25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax title license with approved credit warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Is your wife asking you to stop eating junk food? Well, we have you covered at Humdinger's. It's quick and it's healthy, and most important, it tastes amazing. With many choices from salmon salad to rainbow trout and grilled asparagus. Come visit us for lunch at Humdinger's, 6300 Poplar Avenue. So good, Coach Penny eats with us weekly. Don't forget, Humdinger's offers full-service catering for weddings, social events, or your corporate lunches. You can call 901-260-8292 to find out more.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. It's time for Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. The first hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin and Brett Stats Norsworthy.
And welcome into Sports Time on this Christmas Eve. No Wolo, no Stats. Wolo will join the program, though, at 3:30. He will be live from the Montgomery Bowl as the Tigers look to get their first bowl victory since 2014's Miami Beach Bowl against BYU. Tigers are in their 7th consecutive bowl tonight at 7 on ESPN. Brett is off today, enjoying some well-deserved time off before this Christmas holiday. So if you haven't known by the voice yet, Drew Barrett filling in for Dave and Brett. Gabe Kuhn pulling double duty here today, as he's been doing all day long and all day strong, as one John Harden would say. Been here marathon, man. I mean, middays.
Absolutely, man.
Co-hosted middays.
Been talking all day. I wonder if the listeners are tired of hearing my voice at this point.
I don't know. I like your voice. It's
Thanks,
a good
man.
voice to listen to.
I appreciate that, Drew.
Are you tired of talking? I
No,
mean, do you have
absolutely
another
not.
3 hours?
Absolutely not.
Well, I really hope you do have
Looking
another 3
forward to
hours.
3 hours.
I appreciate that. But we do have a busy show and a great show lined up for you today, as we're going to talk everything from college football, bowl games, Grizzlies season starting tonight. Going to talk some NBA. Going to talk some college football and some college basketball with Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News. Mainly college basketball, but always got to give Mike DeCourcy time to go on his CFP rant, which I think is very on point. And definitely when he calls it the CFI, the College Football Invitational, rather than the CFP, it actually makes a lot more sense than calling it a playoff. We're going to do Friday football forecast at 4:30. I know today is Wednesday, but as everyone knows, it is the holiday season, Christmas Eve. We will not be doing a show tomorrow, and obviously not going to do a show on Christmas Day, which is Friday. So we're going to get to all the bowl games, picking those. I have Brett's, I have Dave's picks for those games. So we'll get into our Friday football forecast, brought to you by First National Bank and Trust at 4:30. At 5 o'clock, going to talk a little bit of everything with TJ Reeves from the sideline reporter of Bucks Radio and the host of the Three Dog Thursdays podcast. Going to end hour 3 at 5:30 with Steve Earhart from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. Going to be very interesting to get his thoughts on all the wildness and crazy things that happened on Monday. I mean, we were sitting here, think about an hour, or about right as we had gone on, right about at 3 o'clock, the news broke across Twitter and across ESPN that the University of Tennessee had to pull out of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl against West Virginia, leaving Steve Earhart, Harold Grader, I'm guessing, scrambling, although those are two of the best in the business. I'm sure they had cool, calm, and collective heads between the two and were able to get Army into the AutoZone Liberty Bowl about 3 hours later. I think it broke about 6:30, about 30 minutes after we were off the air. So going to be interesting to see how the events of Monday and led to Army really went, kind of from an inside perspective from Steve Earhart, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And of course, we're going to end every day, as we always do, with Taco Bell Crunch Time. But Gabe, the bowl game day is here. It's a little different. We didn't have the week of festivities, all the different games, different stuff that y'all do. What was your favorite part, other than the game, of bowl week?
It was the festivities, man. And it's like, I feel bad. I talked to a buddy that I went to high school with that is actually the starting center over at West Virginia. And so he will be participating in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Going to get a chance to see him, or is that against contact tracing?
That's against the rules. He was telling me everything. I said, when are you coming to the Memphis? He said, we're not actually allowed to come in until the day before the game. And that's sort of how it worked with all the bowls that have been played so far. It's just so much different, man. And I wondered, going into this, and this was probably, week 4, week 5, when we started to see how teams were shaping up, seeing, which team's a bowl team, which team's not. All of these opt-outs, you had to see coming. You had to see a lot of these teams saying, you know what, we don't get the same gifts. We're going to lose money on the trip, and we're not going to be able to participate in those team-building activities, going to the bowling alleys, going to the Bass Pro if you're at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
Doing talent shows,
doing
dance-offs against the other teams.
Since you weren't able to do that, it was going to take away from the experience. So I see why we had the opt-outs, but all the teams that are still in there, obviously I think they made a decision to go ahead with it, and hopefully it works out for them.
So with the gifts that y'all get, I see you're wearing your 2015 Birmingham Bowl shirt.
You know what I was
going to
do today? I was going to take a little piece of paper and put Montgomery over it.
You might as well.
Because this was not my favorite bowl. I'll tell you
it wasn't. I don't think it was anybody's favorite bowl. Either one of the Birmingham
bowls. The matchup
bowls
was not very fun. I'll tell you that. That Auburn matchup that year, 2015, started 8-0 that year, got up to number 13 in the country.
A lot of questions from inside the program, what's going on.
A straight wind down, Fuente leaves, then you go to the Birmingham Bowl to play against the Auburn team that was young at the time but had so much talent, and they just sort of shellacked us.
They really did.
Not a very fun one.
It was pretty disappointing.
Good shirt, though.
Lovely shirt that you're wearing, but it was pretty disappointing sitting in the stands for that one. Now, since you bring it up, I do have to ask, and I think it's something that every Tiger fan kind of thinks of when they think about that Birmingham Bowl performance. Do you think it would have been better if Paxton just didn't play?
Oh gosh, I will say no. I don't know if we had a quarterback on the roster who could fill in and do the things that Paxton did that year.
But he obviously didn't do those things that day.
Yeah, but the question
Looked
for
very
me
skittish.
becomes, I think there were times during that game where the offensive play calling was trying to sort of push Paxton out there, help his draft stock almost. I'm not going to say it in those terms. I think we tried to win the game with our play calling, but we put a lot of the onus on Paxton to go try to win that game. It just didn't work out the way it had been. And I think that has to do with Auburn. Kevin Steele's been there forever as their DC, and he was fantastic, and they had a good game plan. They shut us down. But no, I what do you think? Because obviously I have the inside track here, so I don't
mean, you were
think,
in the locker room.
I
You were on
don't
the
think
team.
Jason Stewart would have stepped in there and been able to produce against that Auburn team in any more than Paxton had the chance to.
Probably not, but it just kind of left a bad taste in Memphis fans and kind of in my mouth from watching that game, being in Birmingham. Obviously you just talked about starting the season 8-0, then Navy comes in, puts a whooping on y'all, then you lose a heartbreaker at Houston the next week, and then who'd y'all lose to next after
Lost
that?
to Houston twice, basically, but we lost to Temple in a runaway. They ran away and killed us in that game. And
then
I
was able to finish the season with a win at home against SMU.
A terrible SMU team.
A terrible SMU.
But,
I think
hey, 63-0.
Yeah, put up 60-plus points. Good way to enter a bowl game. But back to with that Birmingham Bowl, it felt like Paxton was more worried about getting hurt, was more worried, was skittish, was really if a defender got within 3-5 yards of him, he was doing step-back jump passes. I mean, plenty of passes that we saw him hit all season long, just laying a guy's feet way over his head, just trying to do everything to come out of there unscathed. And it just kind of felt it just gave you a bad taste because you want to win bowl games. I mean, bowl games matter. I mean, to some people, if you're on that aisle, then it really is just whoever wants it more, and it doesn't matter, and nobody cares. Well, I care. I mean, I spent hard-earned money to go to all of these bowl games. I've been to how many have I been? I've probably been to, out of the 14 that the Tigers have been in their entire time as a program, I believe I've been to 8 or 9 of them.
And I will say this, that bowl performance was uninspired, but we see that every year. Because a lot of times you have group of 5 coaches who did well, get into decent bowl games, and they're gone by the time the bowl game comes around, and those players are just absolutely devastated. And that was no exception. And
I mean, did it really Fuente not being there, did it really affect your personal motivation for the game?
For me, to a certain extent, yes, but I still wanted to win the game. But, it's hard not to be affected by a coach that came in, recruited you, gave you a shot, gave you a scholarship. He leaves, and you're like, okay, what's next? Who's going to come in? Am I going to like the guy? Is he going to like me? And that's sort of the question. We got lucky. We ended up with Mike Norvell. We ended up winning a lot more even when he got there. But at the time, you have a lot of unanswered questions. But we do this every year. It's almost like a cliche at this point.
It is.
It's like motivated versus unmotivated. And it usually happens, and this is one of my pet peeves. I want to get out ahead of this before it happens. And we talk about the group of 5 team who gets in the New Year's Six every single time. UCF ended up beating Auburn in the Peach Bowl, then followed it up losing to LSU by a few points the year after. And this year you have Cincinnati versus Georgia.
We saw Houston win a couple of those. And
I don't want to hear if Cincinnati comes out and hammers Georgia that Georgia didn't care to be there. I don't want to hear it.
No.
We always hear about, it's always the excuse. They were uninspired. They didn't want to play. Why can't
they
we
were
just,
upset they weren't playing for national championship
right,
like they expected?
Why can't we just accept that some teams beat other teams because they're better than them in bowl season? But I do think in a certain sense there are some teams that are uninspired come bowl season. When it's not a good bowl, they're not so happy about how the season went, and especially this year. This year without
just kind of ready to get it over with.
Yeah, it's like I want to go see my family for the holidays.
Yeah,
I can't blame them for having that mindset.
No, you can't. Especially like you said, how different this season has been, how much turmoil there's been going on. Constantly taking tests, constantly have to going through COVID protocol. I mean, you completely understand that guys just want to go home. They want to see their families, which they haven't been able. A lot of them, unless they live here, probably haven't been able to go home once this entire semester, which is different because I'm sure y'all normally get to a few weeks, a few days here and there to go home, see families during bye weeks and stuff like that. So but you're exactly right. I don't want to hear the excuse of Georgia as well. They missed out on the CFP, so they just don't really want to play. No, you bring your own motivation to the game. You play to win the game. And if Georgia doesn't play to win the game, then guess what? They didn't win the game, and people shouldn't be making excuses for them like we've seen so much in the past, especially going back to that UCF-Auburn game.
Right. And I just want to devalue that sort of cliche around bowl season because I think we use it far too much. When it doesn't go the team that we thought was going to win said game, whatever game it is, we tend to make excuses for them like that if they lose. And I think, you look at UCF last night. I thought UCF may keep it close. I'm not going to use the excuse that they're uninspired. But dang.
No,
Zach Wilson,
going against a BYU program, you win that. That just elevates your status and the American status as a true P6. So the motivation should have been there. Oh, my goodness gracious.
How about him?
First
330, 3 TDs in the first half. Ends up with 425, didn't throw for another TD in the second half because I'll tell you what, that UCF defense, I think we saw it earlier in the year when the Tigers beat them 50-49, but that UCF defense is very, very bad.
It is bad. You're right. It is bad. And, I mean, Zach Wilson, the way he played last night has played all season long. And I know this was your extreme overreaction from the weekend that was on Monday about Justin Fields. The way Zach Wilson has played, I mean, at this point, you've got to think Zach Wilson's got to have better draft stock than Justin Fields right now, right?
See, that's where I don't know if that's how front offices think, right? Because you see the evolution of the NFL quarterback, right? You have the Kyler Murrays of the world, the Tuas, the guys who can get out of the pocket, can move, the Lamar Jacksons. And you see Justin Fields, and you're saying, okay, well, he's got a cannon arm. Generally speaking, when he throws the ball to the right read, it's usually on target. He's got more talent, I'd say, than Zach Wilson. But Zach Wilson, I mean, what he's done this year has been absolutely amazing. It's phenomenal, and he looks like a modern-day quarterback. He can get out of the pocket.
Yeah.
He can make plays off schedule, and we saw that last night. So I think there's a debate there. Some people will tell you that Justin Fields is number 2, and if you argue that, you're out of your mind. But I think there really is a debate there.
I think there is as well. And, I mean, you're exactly right as far as what GM's front offices are really thinking. I mean, yeah, it's been a debacle, and obviously for Chicago, but you think back to the Mitch Trubisky draft. I mean, had one good year at North Carolina. I mean, just one good, solid year, and you're telling me he's the second overall draft pick? Above everybody else that he went in front of, and now he, if not is a bottom 5, at least a bottom 10 quarterback in the National Football League. So you never really know how these guys are going to pan out and exactly what GMs are looking at. Because even when it happened, I don't remember anybody being like, man, that was a great trade. Good job for Chicago. They had to pick up that guy. Too much talent on the board. You could not let him slide. You had to trade up. No, but every GM and every front office sees things differently, sees things they like, sees things they dislike in different individual players. So it is always just kind of weird to see. And before we get into top and not top story and other things going on, I do want to ask you one more thing about the bowls. What was your favorite bowl to play in?
Oh, you guess. Guess.
I'm going to guess the AutoZone Liberty. Or was it Miami? The one you won?
Okay, AutoZone Liberty Bowl was absolutely fantastic. Easily my second favorite bowl. Getting to play one more game in the Liberty Bowl was fantastic. It was awesome in front of a home crowd, more or less. But it's hard not to like the memories that were created at that Miami Beach Bowl. You had rabid fans because they had you're finally back in a bowl game, right? You get that top 25 sort of deal there
push
after the game in the AP poll, and it was just crazy memories and the fight. The fight may be looked at badly by some people. We got 2 wins that day, on the field and in the fight. So,
right.
It's hard not to default to the Miami Beach Bowl, and it's the only one I won while I was at Memphis, and it's the only one we've won in this stretch of 7 bowls in a row.
As one, you're exactly right. Last thing, talent show. Did you ever participate in the talent show?
No.
Why not? You don't have
I don't
any
have
talent?
talents, yeah.
Oh, All right, who was the best in the talent shows?
Oh my gosh. No one is actually. You know what? No one all that talented. It used to be the dance-offs. Anthony Miller Anthony used to do pretty well in those, and we used to just kill everybody else. And if we had any, dance-offs, but. Talent show wise,
Alan Cross never rapped in the Miami Beach Bowl talent show?
No, he didn't.
I've heard the chicken neck story.
Alan is Alan knows how to please a crowd. He's funny. Funny guy.
Very good guy. But yeah, we got plenty to talk about today. Going to definitely get into some NBA as the Grizzlies get their season started tonight at FedEx Forum, 7 o'clock on Fox Sports Southeast with Pete Pranica, Brevin Knight, and Rob Fisher and the rest of the Grizzlies crew.
The NFL in its final leg of the season, the bowl season here, college basketball back, NBA tipping off. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive always-on promotions such as enhanced odds, boost on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action at every game day. Easy to use, easy to sign up, range of betting options, and right now FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Seriously, no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Your one and only Lexus dealership in Memphis. Call them at 901-362-8833. Lexus of Memphis, celebrating the holidays and offering the Golden Opportunity December sales event. Great offers on closeout 2020 models, and the 2021s, they are taking over. Happy holidays, Merry Christmas, and a happy 2021 to everyone from Lexus of Memphis. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by today at Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and put yourself in the driver's seat of an all-new 2021 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and driving in style. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and that makes for the luxury driving experience. Online at lexusofmemphis.com, 901-362-8833. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
My top story of the day, we've already mentioned it a good amount here in this first segment. It's game day for the University of Memphis football team as they get ready to take on the Owls of Florida Atlantic University in the Montgomery Bowl tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN. The Tigers are looking to improve to 8-3 on the year, which would make this the 7th straight season with 8 or more wins. To put that in perspective to the history of the University of Memphis program, before this streak, the Tigers had only won 8 or more games in a year 12 times in its entire history, dating back to the first time they did it in 1929 with an 8-0-2 record. Before this streak started, the most consecutive seasons that they had reached the 8 or more win mark was 4 years in a row between the years of 1960 and 1963. Also, as we all know, this is the 7th straight bowl game for the Tigers, which also makes it a school record for the most in a row, going back to before that, had 3 in a row back between 2003 to 2005. And just to make it even more impressive of how much this bowl streak and these last 7 years have been, before the 7-year streak had started, Tigers had 7 bowl game appearances. Now they've doubled it to 14.
How about it? What do you think? You feeling we going to snap the losing streak and get back in the winning column this year?
And I'll tell you the reason why. It has nothing to do with who's on the field, who we're playing. It has everything to do with who will not be in the stands, and that will be me. Out of the 8 bowl games that I said that I've been to, we have won 1.
Were you at the Miami Beach one?
I was not. I was supposed to go. I bought a ticket. I actually still have the ticket at my house, but I had to work here.
Did you resell it?
No. I still have the ticket. Never been scanned. Never been used. And I didn't get to go. I couldn't find. I had a chance to maybe drive down the night before the game, but didn't really want to drive all the way to Miami by myself, and couldn't really find anybody to go. So haven't been to there. The only bowl game that I've been to where the Tigers have been victorious was the Motor City Bowl in 2005.
Quite a ways back. But yes. I will tell you, man, that Marlins Park was brand new then, really state of the art. You missed out, man. Good stadium to go in.
I know I did.
Really cool. And I remember the locker rooms going in there, just going into the clubhouse. It is just so nice in there.
Did y'all use the Marlins clubhouse?
Yeah,
okay.
Marlins clubhouse. We had. It's actually kind of funny. You split up most of the time. You split up the starters and you split up the red shirts and the guys that won't play. All the red shirts and the guys that won't play were in the batting cage. So they got defaulted to the batting cage. But my top story of the day, I'll go from one Memphis team that you just mentioned playing FAU in the Montgomery Bowl. I go to the Grizzlies versus the Spurs tonight, 7 p.m., opening night. We get to see the next gen Grizz. But they are minus a couple guys that are pretty important to the equation. Jaren Jackson Jr. will be out and Justice Winslow will be out. But I'm happy to see the NBA back. It does feel weird, however. It feels very, very weird not to have had at least a month of ball games at this point. But I am glad it's back. Glad to see the Grizzlies back on the court, and I know that John Morant's going to have to shoulder a lot of the load.
Yeah, he will. But if the season reflects anything that we saw in the 4 preseason games, then it should be a great year.
Not top story of the day.
My not top story of the day, Juju Smith-Schuster. He's in the news today. He told reporters today that for the betterment of himself and his teammates, he's going to stop dancing on the logo for his TikToks. For those who don't know, in the pregame warmups every week, Juju shoots a TikTok of him doing trendy dance moves on the logo. He has gotten a lot of hate and slag for it, especially after the Steelers have now lost 3 in a row. So definitely, probably for the best that he stops.
Yeah, and I don't know if he wants to get smacked by Von Bell anymore. Von Bell had something to say, obviously the safety for the Bengals, after he saw the TikTok this week that he took on the Bengals logo. He didn't like it, and he ended up hammering Juju and making him fumble in the game. Juju needs to think a little smarter about shooting those shooting those TikToks on the logo. My not top story of the day, Auburn hiring Brian Harsin from Boise State. And don't get me wrong, he was good at Boise State, but everyone else before him was. That was the best group of 5 job you could have gotten. Now, I think the biggest issue I have, and I said this before, is who are you going to hire if you're Auburn that's going to do a better job than Gus Malzahn? Now, I'm not a big Gus Malzahn fan. I really am not. But he went 68-35, had a national championship appearance, had 2 New Year's 6 appearances, and generally beat Bama more than anybody else in the SEC did over that span. You had to pay him $21 million on the way out, but I am nearly positive, and obviously I can't tell the future, but I am nearly positive that Brian Harsin cannot do a better job than Gus Malzahn.
Yeah, on the face of it, it does just feel kind of like a blah kind of hire. Now, obviously, like you said, he did a good job at Boise State, but nobody has really been that impressive since Chris Peterson. I mean, they've kept it going. I mean, they haven't lost a step, but hasn't really taken them to the places where Chris Peterson had the Boise State Broncos program. So just to kind of keep it afloat and keep it at the same level didn't really make a lot of sense to me. And those are our top and not top stories. When we come back, the voice of the University of Memphis Tigers, Dave Roloshin, will join us. I think he also works here doing something. I'm not really sure what he does here at Sports 56, but before we get to the break, do want to let you and everybody else know that we are in our Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The holidays at home sale is going on now. Spas, over hundreds on order pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and everything in between. Buy your pool now and save on 2021 price increases and get your installation scheduled early. That's Family Leisure, 2120 Witten Road, just north of I-40. When we come back, Dave Lotion on the other side, so don't go anywhere here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1.
Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy get you through lunch daily from 10 to 1.
Well, lunch is served.
Only on Sports 56, 98.5 FM and 96.1 FM.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Witten Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
NFL is in its final leg of the season. College basketball is back and NBA tip-off is almost here. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boost on the biggest events and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you back $1,000 if you don't win your first bet. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
My stomach.
Don't worry, I've got you covered.
When you have nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
What's that?
It's Pepto-Bismol Chews.
Pepto-Bismol's in a chew?
Yeah, they taste great and provide fast relief. And you can always have Pepto-Bismol handy.
Ooh, let me try it.
Try Pepto-Bismol Chews for fast relief.
Nausea, heartburn, indigestion, upset stomach, diarrhea.
Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
On any day in December, Pizza Hut can give to you the Triple Treat Box. 2 pizzas, breadsticks, and Cinnabon mini rolls. Order online at pizzahut.com. No Without Pizza's The Hut. Exclusions apply. Combinability of discounts and specials, prices, and participation vary. Additional charge for extra toppings or pan crust.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stack. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Wolochin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. Tigers are in the Montgomery Bowl tonight at 7 o'clock on ESPN against the Owls of FAU. And you can hear all the action tonight with Dave Woloshin on the call, Russell Copeland doing the color work for that tonight. Pregame, I believe, starts at 5. For the Tigers broadcasting crew. So be sure to tune in to Dave. And Dave is so nice to take the time out of his busy bowl day preparation to join us. Dave, how you doing today?
Hey, man. Just a quick reminder, the broadcast starts at 4.
4? Oh, y'all doing 3 hours today.
No, the game is a 6 o'clock game.
Oh, it's 6 o'clock. Okay, I guess I've been looking at the the Eastern time slot there for the last couple of days, so that's my fault. But Dave, how's Montgomery treating you so far?
So far, so good. Got here late last night, and it was a very pleasant trip. Little bit of traffic outside of Birmingham. You would not think you'd have traffic in Birmingham, but there had been an accident, so that slowed me up a little bit, and so it took me a little over maybe 5.5 hours to get here. But it was a nice get together. The team is ready. I do think that they are focused. I think they are ready. And know this: if Memphis were to win this game, Ryan Silverfield would forever be the winningest coach in the history of the Montgomery Bowl. Because remember, this is a one-time deal here. The bowl should return to Fenway Park. This was going to be the Fenway Bowl with an ACC opponent for the American, and then, of course, everything changed with the pandemic. And you never know, because all of these bowls, both Fenway and this one where they moved it, is owned by ESPN. So that if this thing did really well tonight, they might just add a second bowl in Montgomery every year. They've got the Montgomery Bowl coming up, or the Magnolia Bowl, I guess is what it's called, with the Bart Starr Trophy to the winner. That comes in a few days. So this is the first of 2 games here.
Yeah, it is going to be a busy week for the bowl crew down in Montgomery for sure. But as far as the team-wise goes, are we back to full strength? Are we back to kind of normal numbers, or are we still sitting around the 53 mark where we were in the last game of the regular season?
When I asked Ryan Silverfield that, he said the numbers were a little better than they were against Houston. He did not give me a number. We are nowhere near full strength. And there are guys actually that left the team this week with opt-outs of COVID or whatever it may be. And some of these opt-outs are kickoffs. I've said that to you before, where something occurred and Ryan Silverfield said enough is enough, and that is it. And so I would suspect that we're somewhere between 55 and 60 guys. Cam Wilson is off the team now. He's not out there. He could be injured. I don't know. Sean Dykes is a questionable starter for the game. Probably will not start. I think you will see John Hassel get his first start at tight end. Sean is a game-time decision if he can play at all. Remember, he left the Houston game at the end of the first half with an injury, did not return, probably won't be able to go. I do think Asa Martin will start at running back. I do think Rodriguez Clark will start, not start, but he'll play. He's about 90 to 95% back, so that is a good sign. You'll see a bunch of Kylan Watkins. And truly, Memphis' strength is offense against the defense of FAU. That is their strength. They only give up 16.5 points a game. They only allow 326 yards per game, so they're really good there. So you got strength versus strength. I just think Memphis' defense has improved enough that will totally shut down FAU's fairly anemic offense, and that Memphis will move the ball well enough to win the game.
So FAU, obviously, nationally ranked, very good on the defensive side of the ball, although they ended their season finale was pretty ugly against Southern Miss, giving up 45 points. But that Memphis offense has struggled running the ball. They're going to be, without Sean Dykes at full strength. What is your comfortability and your thought in regards to how this Memphis offense will actually be able to move the ball against that FAU defense?
Well, you want one key, Gabe, and I'll tell you, watch the 2 wide receivers against their secondary. They got a guy, I've never seen this before. He is a true freshman, and they're going to try to make him run around. He's 6'3", 355 pounds.
Wow.
I basically asked Kevin Johns, I said, is he fat? And he goes, well, I wouldn't call him slim.
Hey, I've had to deal with a couple of those guys.
He's heavy. They're going to try to make him run around. I think they figure our offensive line will be good enough to move them enough to just have a little bit of balance. And then watch for Calvin and Taj in their one-on-one battles, because this team puts 7 in the box. They blitz every third down. They blitz their outside linebackers. and they will let you go man to man. And I think both Taj and Calvin can beat their guys.
Right, and this is likely going to be Brady White's last game in a Tiger uniform. Very sad, given how much he won and how much he did. But there's been a string of great quarterbacks in a row. I got to play with Paxton and Riley. Where do you, and I've gotten this question before, without question, where do you rank Brady in regards to all-time Tiger quarterbacks? You've seen quite a few of them.
Right. I got to be honest with you guys. I think of Steve Matthews as a very elite quarterback. And then you got to throw in Danny Wimprine. Steve Matthews was the quarterback when the Tigers had Isaac Bruce, Russell Copeland, and Matt Cody. All three of those guys played pro football. One's in the Hall of Fame. One, Russell Copeland, had an excellent career, probably was in the wrong system, and there were a bunch of other good wide receivers on that team, so he didn't mesh as well as he could have with another place had he gone there. And Matt Cody ended up playing for many years in the Canadian Football League, and they had a great quarterback in Steve Matthews. Unfortunately, the head coach, Chuck Stobart, was a guy that was ground chuck. He liked to run the football. Had those guys played in this system now, Wimprine might have had 13,000 yards. We'll never know. But there have been good quarterbacks and really good. I'm not sure we'd ever find a trio of wide receivers as good on one team as that one had. But I would have to say that Riley, Paxton Lynch, Riley Ferguson, and now Brady White, those are three in a row. This school's never had a succession of quarterbacks like that. 3 straight eras of excellence at that position. You could almost say, based on that, this is QBU. So I would have to say, gosh, if I had to rate them, it's tough. Paxton Lynch is the highest drafted, but was he the best quarterback? Did he understand the offense as well as, say, Brady White? Riley Ferguson was a heck of a college quarterback. I'd probably put him third. I'd have to put Steve Matthews up there. It might be Matthews and then Brady and Wimprine, Paxton and Ferguson. Maybe that's the order, but that's tough. That's like asking me, do I love chocolate, vanilla, strawberry, rum raisin? Actually, might be my favorite. Which ice cream do I like better?
Yeah, it is a tough question. And as far as concession go, you kind of thought that the Tigers back in the early 2000s might have been able to continue the great play of Danny Wimprine with Patrick Burns or Will Hudgens if either one of them could have stayed healthy for long enough because of just how talented they really were. Dave, obviously, bowl game is big tonight, but do want to get your thoughts because you haven't been on these airways since Friday, and obviously we know what happened Monday at FedEx Forum against the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes and with Penny's extension the same day. So I just want to get your thoughts on everything that happened on Monday at FedEx Forum.
Well, just to follow up, I think you're right. You're spot on. Patrick Byrne, what a bad break that was in his very first game to become a starter. Very early in that Ole Miss game, and out he went for the year. I've always felt bad for him, but I know he's a happy guy, got married, now has a really good job. So it worked out okay, but his college career got sort of the raw end of the deal. And Will was a really good player. I agree with you, and he had to battle injuries almost his entire career, so he never lived up to the full potential that he might have had. As far as the Tigers, they are certainly not living up to their basketball potential. I look at this team. I think there's a lot of talent still on this team. They don't play together. I don't know what else that you can say. Defensively, they do a decent job, even though at times there are miscommunications, especially down the stretch when they start to feel the heat. They don't execute as well as they do most of the game. They have opportunities in games to put teams away. I know earlier in the Western Kentucky game, I think they were on the verge of putting that ball club, the Hilltoppers, out, and they didn't do it. And then when they lose these leads, they lose their composure, and that is troubling. And then on offense, I don't know what Penny's going to do. I've listened to Penny, and Penny has said several times now he does not think they have to change. They just have to keep doing things on the same page, sharing the ball, and execute what the game plan is. You know, there is two things that I remember very, very vividly in my mind. The first general manager of any radio station ever told me. And that person was a very nice lady named Sherry Sawyer, who said, Davey, you have to plan your work and work your plan. So the Tigers do a good job of planning their work. If you go to their shoot-arounds, as I did last year, I haven't been able to do that this year. I watched them with game plans, and they have that thing down. They have the strategy. But you got to work your plan as well. And I don't think the Tigers work their plan. And I see it when they give up leads. They freak out. I see it totally on offense where I'm not sure they really quite understand exactly what they are supposed to do. Now, that's on Penny to really get that thing right. And it's not just a shooting slump, even though they do work at times to get open shots that have not fallen. I just think, maybe he needs to alter this plan of running the system that he's running and going back and running a more basic plan that the players fully understand. This one is a rather cerebral one that they don't seem to be getting. And especially when pressure is on, they certainly don't execute it. They did a good job early on against that matchup zone of Frank Hayes, but once that game got tied up, they felt the heat. And, you're not working your plan. And that's, in my mind, what they got to do.
Yeah, it has been quite frustrating, especially when they fall behind. It does seem like they just start to scramble and throw everything that they've had planned going forward, and the rest of the game just goes to the wayside. And hopefully Penny and that coaching staff can get that figured out. But, Dave, thank you so much for taking some time out of your day. Good luck to you and Russell on y'all's broadcast, and go get ready for it because, like you said, you got to be on air here in about 15 minutes. And thanks again for joining us. If you're up for it, we'd love to have you back on Monday.
Appreciate it, Dave.
I will. I'm trying to remember what Monday is, but I'm certain I think I am in studio with you, so we shall see. All right, buddy.
All right,
Take
thanks,
care.
Dave. That is Dave Voloshin, the voice of the University of Memphis Tigers and the host of Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. On the other side of the break, we're going to talk some Grizzlies and NBA. Their season starts tonight against the San Antonio Spurs, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio. We are Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Grind City Brewing Company is taking care of beerness in Memphis. Grind City Brewing is the dream of a father and son duo to create a brand that delivers a high-quality, great-tasting, and easy-drinking craft beer. And they've done it. The brewery sits high above the city elevation in uptown Memphis with 15,000 square feet of beerness, including a 5,000 square foot tap room. Grind City Brewing is committed to all things Memphis, including the Tigers. They have created a malt liquor called Tiger Tail that is the official craft beer of the University of Memphis. Tiger Tail comes in 16-ounce six-packs and is not your typical malt liquor. Tiger Tail is crafted with a bold and smooth flavor, has 7.5% alcohol, and its clean finish makes it incredibly easy drinking. Tiger Tail and Grind City Brewing, taking care of beerness in Memphis.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Did you know nearly 40% of men under 40 and over 75% of men over the age of 40 experience sexual performance concerns? At the Memphis Men's Clinic, their experienced physician performs a comprehensive evaluation that determines which specific issues may interfere with your sexual performance. These issues can vary and range from anxiety to medical issues, low testosterone, or erectile dysfunction. The Memphis Men's Clinic has evaluated hundreds of men of all ages over the years and reestablished a normal sexual life. The Memphis Men's Clinic will work aggressively to resolve issues and allow you to restore your sexual health and overall well-being. That's the Memphis way. If you're 20 years old or 90 years old, come and get cared for the Memphis way. Treatment that's based on your specific needs after a professional clinical evaluation by their experienced board-certified physician. Call the Memphis Men's Clinic today at 901-443-0475 or visit memphismensclinic.com.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back into Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. No Dave Woloshin, no Brett Norsworthy today, as Dave, as you just heard on the previous side of the break, down in Montgomery for the Montgomery Bowl for the Tigers and Owls of FAU. Brett is off today for much needed rest and relaxation before the holiday season. He'll be back in a few weeks, I believe, after New Year's. So Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn filling in for you today, taking you all the way to 6 o'clock. Start of the second hour, we do have Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News to talk all things college basketball. And, of course, got to talk the CFP, or as he likes to refer to it, the CFI with him. But before we get to that, Grizzlies get their season started tonight at 7 o'clock. I'm not misreading another time, right? Like, I've got that one.
That's 7 o'clock.
Okay, that correct. One is 7 o'clock. Not looking at the Eastern time or anything like that, because I did feel a little foolish getting the time wrong with Dave about the Montgomery Bowl. But the Grizzlies do get their season started tonight against the Spurs down at FedEx Forum. No fans will be allowed, so just watch it on Fox Sports Southeast with Pete Prandica, Brevin Knight, and Rob Fisher on the call. But Gabe, I think the Grizzlies looked really good in the preseason. Obviously winning 3 out of the 4. Now, of course, they were against the Minnesota Timberwolves and the Atlanta Hawks, but put up a lot of points. Looked good. Looked like they could survive for a while until they get their big pieces in Jaren Jackson Jr. and Justice Winslow back. So it looks to me, just on face value, this should be a good and kind of easy opening night win against the Spurs.
I think they have a chance to go do it. But you are missing a guy who's so important in stretching the floor and being your three-point shooter. And you need guys to step up. Dylan Brooks is going to have to be a guy that steps up to the plate and make shots. And we know after the extension last year, he had his struggles.
And that's the big question. What Dylan Brooks are you going to get? Are you going to get the will shoot well from beyond the arc, will put up 20 to 25 points, or are you going to get the Dylan Brooks that puts up 50, 55 shots a night and ends the night with 8 points.
And is an inefficient mess that leads you to a loss by 20. I mean, there's one of two Dillon Brooks you seem to get.
Mm-hmm.
It's never really down the middle. And that's just the truth with him because of how much he shoots. He's a volume shooter. That's how he gets his points. But I think this Grizzlies team, expectations are fairly low considering the circumstances.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think anybody's expecting them to be a playoff team considering what the Suns did in the offseason, what some teams in the West are doing and growing up, the Pelicans, the Kings. So I don't think anyone's thinking that this is a playoff team by any stretch of the imagination. But at the same time, and we've talked about this before, their roster is, generally speaking, a bottom half roster in the NBA. They're young. You don't know what a lot of these guys will be here in a couple years. You certainly hope that Ja Morant steps up his level of play this year, hopefully gets into the 20-point per game category, is an all-star, and that might help you win some games. But this team, it just seems like as far as the expectations go, they're low, like they should be. And similar to last year, hopefully they exceed those.
Yeah, hopefully they do exceed those. I think everybody can agree, if you're a Grizzlies fan or even not, that the Grizzlies exceeded expectations last year. Getting into that playoff game in the bubble, whether you liked it or not.
Play-in game. We can't call it playoff, right?
Sorry, yeah, you're right.
Well, some people can consider it a playoff.
No, because I said on these airways, when it was happening in July, that it was not the playoffs.
I was the one saying that it was the playoffs.
You were the one saying the playoffs. I was saying play in. It does not matter. It doesn't count for playoff status. But as far as this team go, it's really going to depend on what kind of roles you get from your supporting cast. What kind of roles, like we talked about with Dillon Brooks, how well is he going to shoot? What kind of Dillon Brooks are you going to get, especially to start the season while you're still missing some key guys? Now, obviously, when you look at the Grizzlies, Giannis Valanciunas, a double-double machine, is probably one of the most consistent players in the NBA. I mean, you know what he's going to give you night in and night out. You know he's going to give you about 15 points, and he's going to be around the 10 to 13 rebounds a night game. And I think that consistency and that leadership, kind of the elder leadership there for the Grizzlies, is going to help them out a lot. It's just your supporting cast. I mean, what are you going to get from Grayson Allen? How well is Slow-Mo and Kyle Anderson going to play? Brandon Clark coming off the bench, is he going to build off of a great first year? Is he going to be kind of have a sophomore slump? I mean, Tyus Jones coming off the bench, DeAndre Melton, everybody else coming off the bench for the Grizzlies. What kind of support you're going to get to take pressure off Ja and Giannis? And that's why Jaren Jackson Jr.'s and Julius Winslow, well, we think Julius Winslow's Justice Winslow. Sorry, I don't know why I said Julius. Justice Winslow's presence would come into play to take off that pressure, even though we still haven't seen Justice Winslow actually play a game in a Grizzlies uniform. Apparently, before he's been injured, he looked really good in practice. But once again, that's practice, so you don't really know what you're going to get. But
also, and you brought up Kyle Anderson. I think Desmond Bane's another guy you need to look at. What do you expect out of him? 30th pick overall. You traded up to get him. He seems like a very high floor guy, not necessarily a high ceiling guy. He's a shooter that you've been in need of. And then Kyle Anderson, he looked good in the preseason.
He did.
But that's the preseason.
And the competition that you're playing against is bottom-tier Eastern Conference teams.
But he is a slow player. He tries to slow the game down. He tries to make the right plays. Can he do that on a consistent basis? And also, can he add a three ball? Can he help you stretch the floor?
You're going to need him to.
And that's the big question, I think, going into the season is what can you get out of a guy like Kyle Anderson if you have to insert him into the starting lineup?
Yeah, it definitely is going to be one of the biggest questions. Obviously, season does start tonight. Grizzlies have 4 games this month before the 2021 calendar. So, Gabe, we got Spurs, then Atlanta on Saturday, and then Brooklyn and Boston both on the road next week. Through the first 4, where do the Grizzlies stand after 4, record-wise?
Oh, gosh. I almost want to wait to see what they look like against the Spurs.
Well, you can't wait. I asked you now.
But I'll go ahead and say 2-2. I'll give them the Spurs games. I certainly think they can handle the Hawks. Nets and Celtics are going to be very, very hard games for them to go to those places and win.
Yeah, I think you're exactly right. I think 2-2 is probably what most Grizzlies fans are expecting out of those four, and to basically win the 2 at home this week and drop the 2 on the road. But it will be interesting to see. That is for sure. Hour 1 is in the books. On the other side, Mike DeCourcy from the Sporting News on college basketball and the CFP. So don't go anywhere. Don't touch that dial. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
You're scrambling around. You need a haircut. Where you gonna go? I got a place that has 15 locations. I've got a place where details matter. I've got a place that can be invigorating and relaxing at the same time. You know what it is. It's Supercuts. Every haircut ends with the signature hot towel finish. Every haircut matters. When you're getting ready, you go into Supercuts. The stylist will pay attention to every detail. So you get the haircut you want, and, of course, you're going to finish with that signature hot towel. You walk out clean, sharp, and not just ready, but super ready. And you might want to ask that hairstylist about what the tea tree experience is. One part invigorating, one part relaxing. The tea tree experience is something you need to try. 15 locations. I mentioned that, didn't I? All you've got to do is go to supercuts.com. You'll find the one nearest to you. Get super ready at Supercuts. James Davis is one of those stores that just says Memphis. It's an original. The finest men's clothing in Memphis can be found in the Laurelwood Shopping Center at James Davis. Let's start with the Stance Custom Fitting System. This is relatively new. You can only find it at James Davis Men's Store, and it's where you walk through the door. You're going to take 3 quick measurements, about 15 seconds, and then about a week later, you're going to get the perfect fitting shirt. I mean, in the neck where you can tie your ties comfortably, all kinds of colors, all kinds of fabrics. The same thing with pants. A couple of measurements. A week later, you've got a perfect fitting in the waist, in the leg, pair of pants that makes you feel good. And they still have the great Paul Battenley suit deal. 2 for $7.95. You look great on Zoom calls. Sweaters and pullovers, perfect for eating outside. The best place to go for men's clothing in Memphis. It's simple. James Davis Men's Store in the Laurelwood Shopping Center.
When you think about Memphis-style hot wings, you better be thinking about Crumpy's Hot Wings, because they're made from the freshest ingredients and always deliver that mouth-watering taste that you expect from your hot wings. Now you can visit their new location at 420 South Germantown Parkway. You can also call them at 901-207-1273 and see for yourself why Crumpy's is simply the best. Ask for the Sports 6 Special, which is 20 pieces of whole wings, large fries, and 4 drinks at just $38 for your family or group gatherings. Crumpy's Hot Wings, simply the best.
Are you drowning in IRS tax debt? Get ready for a toll-free hotline. Take advantage of new IRS tax forgiveness programs. Call Civic Tax Relief for free information now. 800-841-0908. 800-841-0908.
Rocking around, the Kia rides have a happy holiday. That's right, Mid-South. Gossett Kia on the Pike is rocking away at the Kia Holiday Sales Event. Command the season. And gift wrapping is available on your 2020 Kia Forte $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5 $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $3149 due at signing. So get them what they really want this season, a new ride from Gossett Kia 1900 Covington Pike. Or shop 24/7 at KiaCovingtonPike.com. Ask for Bobby J. He'll put you in a new Kia today.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36-month leases, $3149 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte ME 29910, MSRP $20,625. Sold M7755,682, MSRP $20,315, K5MG 003,199, MSRP $25,725. Includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF $695, excludes tax title and license with approved credit. Warranty is a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20. Dealer stock only.
At First Bank Mortgage, their core purpose is to help you get to a better place. That better place may be a lower monthly payment, that vacation you thought was impossible, or getting into a home with a fenced backyard where your kids can play. To get into your better place, First Bank Mortgage makes decisions right here at home. Dedicated to helping you get to your better place, First Bank Mortgage. Call Daniel Mooney at 901-462-0145 today. NMLS 741022. Equal housing lender. DeSoto Auto Sales specializes in late model cars with low mileage. They have the highest standards in the car industry. All of their cars are test driven, checked out from head to toe, unlimited inventory, every make and model. And if it's not on the lot, they'll find it for you. Walk in the door of DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Within 45 minutes, you can test your car, get credit approval, and finish paperwork within an hour. No shortcuts at DeSoto Auto Sales. Kind, courteous employees, a down-home environment. DeSoto Auto Sales cares about your time. Lowest prices in a 350-mile radius. We're living in a world today where time does matter. Visit them online. Check out their referrals. DeSotoAutosales.com. Very proud to serve DeSoto County and other surrounding areas. DeSoto Auto Sales, 5704 Goodman Road. Call 662-890-7184. 662-890-7184. Come on down to DeSoto Auto Sales.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brad Norsworthy.
Welcome back into hour 2 of Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. A lot of great things going on in sports today as we are in bowl season. Tigers taking on FAU Owls tonight at 6 o'clock kickoff and the Montgomery Bowl. Grizzlies getting their season started against the San Antonio Spurs tonight at FedEx Forum at 7 o'clock, and everything in between. Great sports weekend coming up, that is definitely for sure. But joining us now from the Sporting News, covering all things college athletics, college basketball, college football, Mike DeCourcy. Mike, how are you doing today? And to start off, I read your article on the Sporting News last Thursday, I believe is when it came out, the CFP ranking debacle that makes it clear it's their party and they'll snub who they want to. And one thing that I want to get to, and definitely your thoughts to expand on that to start off, is you call it an invitational. And I think that's realistically the best way to describe it. How are you doing today, Mike?
I am doing well, and happy holidays to all my friends in Memphis. Still have a big place in my heart. I'm surprised there's room for anything else. What's really interesting is I started. I think I might have mentioned that parenthetically in an article a year ago, but didn't really make a big deal of it. And then I kind of really started to hit it hard the last couple of weeks, and it's really catching on. A lot. I saw Danny Cannell tweet that. I saw Jay Billis tweet that. I've seen Tim Brando now tweet it. Nicole Arbach from The Athletic did an article in which they put that in the headline. So it's really starting to catch on as the descriptor of what this is. Mm-hmm. And I wrote, I think I started on this track when, I think it was 2016. Penn State went and defeated Ohio. Actually, they played at home and defeated Ohio State. Ohio State was the heavy favorite. And they lost, but the Nittany Lions dropped the game to Michigan, and I think maybe one other. So when they went in and they were the team that played in the Big Ten championship game, they were playing in a game that they were going to, that they won, they were going to become the Big Ten champion, but they weren't going to get into the playoff. And it just struck me, and I wrote a column about how preposterous that was, that you would have a Big Ten championship game. And Big Ten, look, it's not the best conference in college football. It's really close, but it's pretty clear the SEC is. But it's pretty close to the best, and yet they were not going to be in even if they won it. And there's just no other sport in which that happens. Literally none. I mean, every other sport that you want to win a championship, there is some prescribed path for you to enter the championship vehicle. If you want to win the Masters, there are like 20 different categories you can fill. You can qualify by being like the number one ranked. You don't have to be number one, but if you're the number one ranked player in the world golf rankings, you're in. And so you have to win things to be the number one player in the world golf rankings. Or you could have won a tournament in the last year, and they put you in. Or you could have won the Masters in the past, and they put you in. And then at the end, like if they like you and maybe you had a tough year or maybe you got injured or whatever, they can say, hey, you know what, Joe, you can play in the Masters because we like you. And they can do that. But there's all these other things that you can't, that if you do them, they basically can't say no. And in the NFL, you finished first in the NFC North, you're going. You finished first in the NFC East, even if you're under 500, you're in. And that's the way it is in every sport. But college football, they think they're special and different, and so they pick you. And that's the part that just doesn't work. It's the part that has to be changed. And the only way to change that is to expand it. And the only way to make it a true championship is to expand it to at least 8, wherein all 5 of the Power 5 champions are in. There has to be somebody from the group of 5 because it's not representative of the division if you don't say at least one gets in. And then you have 2 spots that you can say, like if there's a really strong SEC runner-up, A&M this year, if Notre Dame in a year when they're not playing in a conference, they're independent, but they go 12-0, they can get in. But that I think that's a really ideal system, and it's just like you can see it from here. But the powers that be in college football, here's the problem. They think that if you can't scream about their sport all the time, if you're not angry about it all the time, then you're not interested. There's no question that they believe that.
Oh, for sure.
And that's why instead of like last week, and on a normal year it would have been 2 weeks ago, but last week when all the Power 5 conference championships were being played, if every one of those signified an automatic bid to get into the playoff, can you imagine how big those games would get? They would be absolutely monstrous. If Northwestern could have automatically gotten into the tournament by beating Ohio State, as you know, there are a lot of Big Ten fans and Buckeyes fans watched last Saturday. But if that game meant that, there wouldn't have been any college football fans who didn't watch.
Right, and we'll get to college basketball here, but I do want to get your thoughts even more on this because I'm with you. I played at a group of 5 school. I played at Memphis, and getting a seat at that table is absolutely impossible. It's literally impossible. At one point during his diatribe, or answering several questions, Gary Barta said that the only way that a group of 5 team would get in is if they had a BYU-style schedule with 5 Power 5 opponents, which
is impossible.
is bizarre coming out of his mouth, given that that's literally impossible. But you mentioned an expansion to 8. Do you think an FCS-style playoff where you expand to maybe even more, 16, 24, could be something that might right the wrong that we see in college football right now?
I don't. I used to advocate for 16, and my friend Dan Wetzel from Yahoo, along with 2 others, wrote a book in I don't know, maybe it was around 2011 or 2010, called "Death to the BCS," and proposed a 16-team playoff. And I think there's a logic to that, but I don't think it's practical. Especially not when they're standing at 4 and saying, this is my hill.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, so I think that the expansion to 8 is just like, like I said, you can see it from here. I mean, it is right across the bridge. It's as close as West Memphis is to Memphis. And it's just so easy to do, but they stand there and they say no, because if they made it so that the games actually mattered, and it wasn't about the argument, they really fear they would lose their audience. And that, what bothers me about that is that it says that they don't love college football as much as we do.
Mm-hmm.
They don't, like, we love it. As much as this drives me crazy, I've been watching it my entire life. Since I was 8 years old, and my mother and father took me to my grandfather's house to watch Notre Dame play Purdue because we were Irish Catholic. So you know what the biggest team in our house was when I was 8 years old, and so that was that's my earliest memory of watching sports, and I still it's been a long time since then, and I still love it, but they act like we don't love it unless we're screaming about it. But the reality is, if that game, that Northwestern Ohio State game, or the SC Oregon game, I mean, be honest, did you watch the SC Oregon game? You didn't turn it on.
I did. I'm a
maybe
nerd.
you did.
I'm a college football nerd. I watched
I'm going to watch it regardless, but for the normal person, probably didn't.
I didn't, because as much as I love college football, I knew it didn't add up to anything, because I knew that SC wasn't going to get in. They had them down at like 12 or 13 or whatever. And so I didn't watch, but I watched. I watched the teams I was interested in that day, and so I think that that's what they missed. I turned on the Notre Dame Clemson game in the 4:00 window, but when Notre Dame blew their first couple of chances, I knew what was happening, and then I watched basketball instead. But if that game had, if that game meant something, if it really did, I don't know if I would have turned it off.
Yeah, Mike, I agree with you. One thing that always drives me crazy is the fact that the people in charge of college football think that we're so dumb that we're only going to care about 4 programs. We're only going to really watch if the blue bloods of college football are in it, and not just watching because we love the sport and we love watching college football, and that really drives me crazy. And before we get to college basketball, I do want to get your opinion on this. We obviously taking away from the CFP, because we know why they do things. They're just weird and give you a headache. But as far as like AP and the coaches polls out there, why in basketball does it not matter what conference you're in and it affecting your rating? We have obviously seen Gonzaga sitting at number 1. We've seen Memphis in terrible CUSA years reach number 1 and in the top 10. But as far as for football, it feels like the AP voters, they take that conference weight so much higher than what they actually see on the field. Why do you think there is so much difference between polling based on conferences between the sports?
I think over the years, college football journalists have been defensive of the concept of the nature of the sport. I think that I think for one, it gives them a bigger voice, because they for a while they were the ones who decided the championship. I'm Mike DeCourcy voting in the AP poll. I get to say, I think that was big for a lot of people, and I think that they have they've followed along more with that idea and that ideal. But I have seen a lot more of, I saw Dan Wolken from USA Today. I've seen some others who have basically said, this isn't working anymore. This is not good enough. We can do better. And I still see some people, some guys I respect who still defend the status quo. But I think there's less of it, and the less there is, the less secure the concept of 4 teams is. And I think at some point, if I'm the Pac-12, if the Pac-12 had a strong commissioner, and I'm not a huge fan of Mr. Scott, if they had a strong commissioner, at some point they'd say, no, this doesn't fly anymore. I believe, and I could be slightly off on the numbers, but they've had 7. This is the 7th playoff. They will have had 7 by the end of this year. They have been excluded 5 times. If you're a Power 5 league and you're getting excluded 75, 80% of the time, and you don't stand up and say, no, this has got to go, we have got to do better, then what are you doing?
Basically giving in at that point, right? Just basically saying,
and
it doesn't matter.
I don't see how at least Mike Oresco is saying this is not good enough. And I understand that he's on the outside, but he's not that much more on the outside than the Pac-12 guy is. The Pac-12 gets a bigger check, but they don't get to play. So, don't the 12 schools in the Pac-12 want to play as well as earn a check? I got to think they do.
No question at all. But moving on to college basketball, I always do this every single year, because you look at the Big Ten and the depth they have year in, year out. It always seems like they have the most depth. It always seems that way because they seem to have the most teams in the top 25. But it's weird. You look at some of the teams in there, Rutgers, Illinois, who had struggled there for a while, but going into last year, they finally picked it back up. Iowa, who's usually not in that situation, but Luka Garza's absolutely, positively phenomenal. Michigan State seems always to be there. Ohio State's back up there. What teams in that Big Ten Conference do you actually see staying around in the end and being able to push come tournament time?
Well, I think a lot of them can. I really do. And remember, this is somewhat cyclical, although they certainly are in a good position to keep it up. I mean, it's only been since 2018 that they had a 13-5 Nebraska team, 13-5 within the league, that didn't even make the show, and understood that they weren't going to make it, and never really argued about it. They played Michigan in the quarters of the Big Ten tournament that year. Knew that it was all about that game, didn't win it. It was the most silent locker room I've ever been in 40 years in the journalism business, because they knew they weren't going to make it. So they're on a great cycle. Last year they had 10 teams that would have been in the tournament, that according to my bracket at Fox and most of the others that are out there. This year, to date, they have maybe one bad team, or maybe one team that could be bad, although they've been really competitive at Nebraska. It's just we don't know whether they can hold up against what they're up against. But everybody else has been pretty solid. So I think that Iowa can be great. I think Michigan State can be great. I think Illinois can get there. I think they will, but they aren't there yet. Wisconsin is rock solid. So that they have a lot of teams. And Rutgers, if they continue to get the kind of play out of Ron Harper Jr. that they've got, they will be terrific. They don't shoot the basketball great, but they're terrific defensively. They are as together a team as there is in college basketball. They'll be right there.
Yeah, Mike, I got to make sure I get your thoughts on the Tiger program that felt like it hit almost all-time low. Obviously, there weren't any fans at FedEx Forum, but they did allow media. And unfortunately, I was one of those media people that was in FedEx Forum and felt like my eyes were going to bleed through part of that game against Tulsa. After the kind of bad start now, 5-4 on this young season, is the ceiling changed for the Tigers to where it's no longer maybe second weekend of the NCAA tournament like we thought was a possibility going into this year? Is it now ceiling for the year making the tournament, or is it even lower than that, where just can we at least get an NIT bid?
Well, I think they have to work on just getting better right now. They are not a connected team when they're on the floor. They missed Alex Lomax for all the struggles he might have had so far this season. They missed having a point guard in that game. It made a huge difference. I really believe that they would have been in better shape to win that game. It may not have been much prettier, but the ball did not flow at all on Monday night. When they played Tulsa, there was a lot of trouble there. And then you had the circumstance with Landers Nolly when they were still right there. You can't have a technical foul for that in that circumstance. That's a player who needs to invest in where he is. That I think that's a very important step for the Tigers. He needs to want to be a Tiger. And the times I was there, way before I got there, there was always that feeling of the Memphis kids who grew up wanting to be Tigers and picked a school because that was something they grew up around, and then that sort of fed off over into the guys who came from somewhere else. And I don't think it's impossible for a player who came from somewhere else to get that. I mean, it happens all over college basketball that guys play for their school, but I think that has to happen with him, that he gets invested in where he is. I think that's a big step as well. And then some of it's just maturity. Eventually, the front court will get more comfortable, more mature, and will start to be dominant. I can't promise that's coming soon. It may not be till next year, but it'll happen. And when it does, when Cisse really gets it, they're going to be dynamite. It's just it's taking longer than maybe they'd hoped or expected.
So going from a middling team here in Memphis to a guy who coached Memphis at one point, John Calipari, we sort of knew coming into the season it was going to be a struggle for Kentucky, but I don't think anyone saw how historically bad it was going to be of a start. But 1-5, it just looks like a lost cause at this moment. Is this Kentucky team, we know that there's going to be talent. They get the 5 stars, they get the 4 stars every single year. Is this a Kentucky team that will eventually be able to figure out come SEC play? Or are we looking at a losing basketball team?
They could. It'd be unusual if they don't get better. They've been in games. They were in the Notre Dame game in the second half. They blew Notre Dame away, but were so far behind that they were a point away or 2 points away from catching up. The game against Kansas, I don't know what the final score was, but they were ahead by 4 with 5.5 minutes left, and then let it get away. So they've been in those games, and they were ahead of Carolina for the first 25-ish minutes, and then played really poorly from there. So they have it in them to play better basketball, but they have a lot of the same problems. Point guard is still an issue there. I thought Devin Askew played better in the Carolina game and maybe showed a little bit of promise. But the biggest problem for Kentucky, honestly, is the fact that they vastly overscheduled. I was looking at this yesterday. I looked at the AP poll, and I don't vote or pay much attention, but I looked at the poll, and Texas Tech was 15th. In the AP poll as of Monday. And Texas Tech at that point had played 2 high major opponents: Houston, the best team in the American, and they had played Kansas, possibly maybe the best team in the Big 12, and they'd lost both games. And then they had played 6 games against basically low major opponents. And so, because they were 6-2, hey, they're fine. They're Texas Tech. They got a great coach. They'll figure it out. They'll start beating good people. And last night they ended up beating Oklahoma at home by 1. I don't know if that's the big step forward that people are looking for, but now they're 7-2, so they're fine. If Kentucky had played the exact same schedule, they'd probably have the exact same record, and no one would be talking about this historically bad start. But John took this on, and I think some of it is that they're bound to a lot of these games, the Champions Classic and the CBS Sports Classic and such. And some of it is they took on games that like a Richmond. I mean, you don't got to play Richmond. If I were the head coach of Kentucky and somebody said, what's the last team in college basketball you'd want your bunch of freshmen to play the second game of the year, I would have said Richmond. That would have been the last team. And that's who they played, and they got beat. So I don't know whether they can come back from the start and be a tournament team. I won't put it beyond them, but part of the problem is the start is feeding into itself. You saw the problem they had with Cameron Fletcher. They had and he is taking time away from the team. There was a less problematic but still evident moment with their point guard at Terrence. So I think that there's that the pressure of playing and winning at Kentucky becomes greater when you're not winning.
Yeah, it really does, and it just puts a spotlight on you. And you already have the haters when you're losing, and they come out when you're winning, and they come out of the woodworks when you are losing. We're speaking with Mike DeCourcy of This Morning News. Mike, real quick before we let you go, it is we're 2 days away from Christmas, so I gotta ask you. You're writing your letter to Sports Santa asking for a sports Christmas wish. What are you asking Sports Santa for Christmas?
Oh, I want universal vaccination so the virus can die and we can all go back to games. Absolutely. That's the thing. I mean, the experience of being in an arena with a full crowd that's delighted to be there and excited about what might happen. There's very little like it in all the world, and I can't wait to get back to it.
It's a great answer, Mike. I definitely cannot wait to get back to it as well. Well, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family, and stay safe, and thanks once again for joining us, Mike.
Thanks, Mike.
Absolutely. Thank you.
That was Mike DeCourcy of The Sporting News, who covers all things so greatly on college athletics between college football and college basketball. When on the other side of the break, we will get to our Friday football forecast brought to you by First National Bank and Trust. So don't go anywhere. I know it's Wednesday, but we're going to do the Friday thing today due to the holiday. So don't go anywhere right here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ. Listen to us daily on AM 560, 98.5 FM, and 96.1 FM.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive, take the car for a couple of days if you want, streamlined buying process? You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
NFL is in its final leg of the season. College basketball is back, and NBA tip-off is almost here. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you back $1,000 if you don't win your first bet. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
Attorney CPA Joe Cordell.
You hear the phrase a lot this time of year, happy holidays. But holidays are not always happy, particularly for guys grappling with a divorce that they didn't choose. These men need more than the help of a good lawyer. They need the hope and encouragement of a good friend.
Contact Cordell & Cordell to schedule an appointment with one of our firm's Memphis attorneys. Online at CordellCordell.com. Office in Memphis, 6000 Poplar Avenue, Suite 225, Memphis, Tennessee, 38119.
Hi, this is Troy Five-Ash, owner of Five-Ash Roof Services. You've heard me talk about how we offer the best products, the best warranties, and the best services for years. Now let's talk about pricing. Pricing should never be the only reason you hire a contractor, but in today's world, pricing is always a consideration. So we suggest you get 2 or 3 estimates for your roof replacement from a reputable, licensed, and insured company, and then give us a call. If we can't beat your best price for a comparable roof system by more than $100, we'll give you $100. It's that simple. We are so sure we can offer you the best price, beating all other qualified companies. We will hand you $100 if we can't, and thank you for the opportunity. So give us a call. What's the worst thing that's going to happen? Make $100? Five-Ash Roof Services, a proud supporter of Tiger Athletics and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five-Ash Roof Services, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Wendy's Baconator is the ultimate bacon cheeseburger that puts all other cheeseburgers to cheeseburger shame. And now we're bringing that same big bacon energy to shake up and wake up your breakfast with the Breakfast Baconator. Stacked with the fresh cracked egg, sausage, cheese, and bacon. And right now, you can get a free Breakfast Baconator with purchase in the Wendy's app. So get to Wendy's and always be baconating. We got you.
Offer available at participating U.S. Wendy's for a limited time during breakfast hours only. Offer must be redeemed via the app. Account registration required.
Time for the Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. For real estate, commercial, ag, hunting, and recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or 901-498-5763.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, they've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate Brooks Winchester, Nick Sutton, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763 or fnbtmemphis.com. That's fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I've had an account and been a friend my entire life.
Yes, sir. It is our Friday football forecast right here on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1 on Sports Time with Wolo and Stats. No Wolo, no Stats today. Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn filling in. Gabe doing a great job today, pulling double duty, as we will get to our Friday football forecast here in just a minute. Do have some breaking news. The Thunder and Rockets game has been postponed tonight due to COVID issues with the Rockets. This is from Shams about a minute ago. James Harden is unavailable due to a violation of health and safety protocols. The NBA says 3 Rockets have returned positive for the coronavirus due to testing today, and 4 others are quarantined due to contact tracing, which means that the Rockets do not have the required 8 available players. That is according to Woj, who I believe was one of the first people to break
him and Shams. And I will say, I was wondering earlier today, and obviously we're going to get to our picks here momentarily, but I was wondering earlier today, if you didn't have Boogie, DeMarcus Cousins, you didn't have John Wall, you didn't have Ben McLemore.
And we knew you weren't going to have James Harden.
You didn't have James Harden.
The Gentleman's Lounge, not strip club.
Yeah, right.
I heard that. That was
of course,
funny.
No.
I did laugh. I heard you say that on middays today, and it was quite hilarious.
But yeah, you sort of wondered who they were going to put out there, and apparently, this was according to Woj as well. They didn't even have the required 8 players to put out there. It's not even, they couldn't get any G League guys. Their two-way guys weren't ready to go, so they didn't even have the 8 players ready to go for tonight.
Yeah, and it's weird that it's kind of shocking that I thought that it might not affect the NBA for some reason, just due to the fact that the bubble went off so well. But if we all remember, back March 11th, this all started on Rudy Gobert night. It started with the NBA, so I don't know why I thought that it wasn't going to affect it. But I guess just the bubble itself just kind of made you think that the NBA was impervious to it.
And also, I didn't think it would happen
night one. Right?
Like, seriously, I didn't think that we were going to look at a first game being postponed or canceled, but here we are. It's just the life we're living right now. I'm sure they'll get it done later in the season, and as the season goes on, hopefully it gets better.
Other news before we get into our Friday football forecast, brought to you by First National Bank and Trust. News from college basketball. Wish I could have had enough time to get Mike DeCourcy's opinion on it before we had to let him go. But the winless Chicago State Cougars are decided that they're calling it quits for the remainder of the 2021 basketball season to focus on health, safety, and academic pursuits of the men's basketball student athletes. In the story, it says from their athletic director, Elliot Charles, it was a difficult decision, but a necessary decision in order to prioritize the health, wellness, and academic success of the student athletes. And I'm calling some bull on this one, just due to the fact that the Cougars started the season 0-9.
Well, between them and Mississippi Valley State, they lose, every game by 40 points.
Yeah.
So I don't really blame them for making that decision. It can't be all that fun to be in their shoes.
Real quick, I just want to pull this up. Yeah, teams that they lost to this year, lost by 20 to Ohio, lost by almost 60 to Illinois, lost by 30 to North Carolina A&T, 20 to Eastern Illinois, 40 against Northwestern.
Like I said, they are
30,
they are the bye game for a lot of these schools, and they just get whooped up on it. It cannot be fun doing that.
No, it can't. They're close, and their closest game through the 9 was a 10-point loss, 64-54 against Northern Illinois University. But let's go ahead and get into all of our games. I know that we're going to pick a game, and I want everybody to be honest because it's already going on.
We already had it written out. We all had our picks. These were picked before 2 o'clock when the game started.
These were all picked before 2 o'clock. Everybody had to get them into our commissioner, Brett Norsworthy, who keeps up with all of these picks. So the New Orleans Bowl, obviously we know what's going on. Georgia Southern is having a heck of a day down there in the Superdome.
31-3 currently.
31-3. Oh, I'm
31-3 Georgia Southern over Louisiana Tech.
There it goes. The score's just changed on my spot. So before the game, Gabe, who did you have?
I had Georgia Southern minus the 5.5. I thought they'd be a tough out in a bowl game.
Well, you and Brett did pick correctly. Unfortunately, me and Dave did take La Tech in that one.
I appreciate the honesty. Sir.
I mean, I'm going to be honest, and I'm also going to be really honest. Did not know a lot about La Tech or Georgia Southern going into this matchup. I mean, just to be honest with everybody, I didn't watch tape, didn't have the media guides on both teams. Just kind of win as a whim. I knew Georgia Southern probably would win the game, but like we've seen crazy things happen in bowl games. And
Georgia Southern has had their quarterback there for a while, Wirtz, and they run that very funky, spread option attack. I figured that's a tough team to go against in the postseason.
It really is. And on to the next game, we've got the University of Memphis Tigers in Montgomery in the Montgomery Bowl over against Florida Atlantic. The Tigers, while the lines that we're picking on were set a couple of days ago. I'm sure some of the lines have moved, but Tigers are favored by 9.5 over the Owls of FAU. Brett Norsworthy and Dave Voloshin both taking the Tigers. I'm taking the Tigers. Gabe, do we have a show sweep?
We have a show sweep. I'm taking my Tigers as well.
And that's not very good for the University of Memphis and for anybody that takes our advice out there, just due to the fact that we are really bad on show locks. I'm trying to pull it up. Brett sent it to me, I believe, early today or yesterday.
That's what I always do. If I'm betting on a game with my buddies, if I'm betting on a game with my buddies and they say they like the same game, do not bet on it.
Yeah, you really don't. If everybody's lined up, that
hopefully,
means that
I'll
it's
tell you
definitely
this
going the
though.
other way.
I hope my Tigers get the cover. I hope we go against the trend with the show locks.
I hope we do. I'm sitting here scrolling. I'm trying to find it. I think when he sent it to me, throughout the year on show locks in college football, we are, I believe, 14-26.
Not great.
Not great whatsoever. New Mexico Bowl, next one up. Houston minus 13.5 over the Rainbow Warriors of the University of Hawaii. Brett and Dave are taking Hawaii. Gabe, what do you got?
I'm going to take Hawaii. Too many points. 13? Can't do it.
I'm with you. I'm going to take the show sweep there. So we all have Hawaii and the Frisco Bowl. That is the Frisco Bowl, right? Or no, that's
the New Mexico.
New Mexico Bowl that is being played
Frisco
in
had
Frisco,
been canceled.
That's right. Frisco had been canceled against the SMU and
UTSA.
UTSA.
Yes. So now,
but San Antonio
UTSA ended up
is now in
another
First
game.
Responders Bowl, which we'll get to that one.
This bowl season is a jumble, isn't it?
It really is. And trying to do all these picks, we obviously need to get them in because they are important. We do love the people at First National Bank and Trust for sponsoring this every week and allowing us to basically make fools of ourselves when we pick against the line, and especially me in the NFL. I don't know about you, but NFL-wise, I am so bad. I think college football, though, I'm at 500 right now going into this week, but for the NFL, I am really bad.
It happens. A lot of parity in that National Football League.
It really is. Next bowl, the other one going on in Montgomery, the Camellia Bowl, Buffalo minus 3.5 over the Marshall Thundering Herd, who I think got embarrassed last week against the UAB Blazers, who unfortunately aren't going to be playing South Carolina in the Gasparilla Bowl due to South Carolina pulling out due to COVID-19 issues. But Marshall got just embarrassed, especially how well they started the season. I mean, I remember, especially before the SEC and a lot of the power conferences came on, watching Marshall, especially week one against Eastern Kentucky. Yes, I know it's Eastern Kentucky, but to start the season off the way that they did 59-0, especially behind that freshman of Grant Wells, who just looked like a world beater, then rolled off 7 straight wins, and then got embarrassed at home against Rice, and then embarrassed again at home in the conference championship against UAB. Marshall is sliding and not in the right direction. Buffalo, on the other hand, is in the right direction with probably one of the best running backs in the country in college football right now. So I'm going to take Buffalo minus the 3.5. So is Brett and Dave. Another show sweep?
Another show sweep. It's hard to go against Buffalo, especially going against that Marshall team who has slid so terribly at the end of the year, losing to Rice, not scoring a point, and then going against UAB in the championship. A pretty unspirited effort, too, in that championship. But shout out to UAB. It stinks that we have this year a conference champion.
Yeah.
That won't be able to participate in a bowl game.
Yeah, and I'll talk about that, especially more at the end of the show with what I could have done without. But I'll go ahead and just say, I feel really bad for Bill Clark.
A lot of show sweeps.
Team. Yeah,
so far we have 3 show sweeps in a row.
Three so far. We did. All took Memphis, Hawaii, and Buffalo. Could be another possible show sweep with the Cure Bowl. That one will be played at Camping World Stadium in Orlando, Florida, between the number 12th ranked Coastal Carolina and the Liberty Flames. A matchup that a lot of people almost got in the regular season, and luckily it was replaced by BYU when Liberty could not go. So we're finally going to get the answer. Who is better, the Liberty Flames and Hugh Freeze or Coastal Carolina? I'm taking Coastal. Brett's taking Coastal, and so is Dave. Do we have 4 in a row?
You don't.
No.
I'm taking Liberty plus the 6.5. Not so fast.
Not so fast, my friend.
No, I like Liberty, man. I like their team makeup. Finished the year with a really good 45-0 win against UMass to build some confidence. I think this – I really do think that Coastal Carolina will win the game, but I really see this being a close one.
I don't know. I really like Coastal Carolina, and I love that offense. They also run type of a pistol shotgun type of option, spread you out where they do a lot of zone reads, especially off of the defensive end, and can also do a lot of RPOs out of that slot. Grayson McCall. Grayson McCall, yeah, that's his name. I think is a great quarterback for Coastal Carolina. I think they run away with this one actually, and I think they put the argument to bed about who was better, Coastal or Liberty.
Heck, you guys can agree. I'll go against you.
Hey, you get plus 6.5, so you get basically 7 points to prove us wrong. Not going to pick the Gasparilla Bowl, obviously, but if we were going to, who would you have taken? UAB minus 4.5 over South Carolina.
I would have taken the UAB team minus 4.5. I mean, that South Carolina team was terrible this year.
Oh, absolutely terrible. Now, the only reason they're in bowl games, the only reason a lot of teams are in bowl games is due to contracts and ties that conferences have with bowls, and South Carolina definitely fits in that category. I would have taken the Blazers as well. So would have Brett. Dave would have been on an island all by himself with South Carolina. Now to the permissioned First Responders Bowl going on at Gerald Ford Stadium on the SMU campus in Dallas, Texas. The Raging Cajuns of Ooh La La, Louisiana Lafayette against the Roadrunners of University of Texas at San Antonio. The Raging Cajuns are minus 13.5 over the Roadrunners. Gabe, how do you see that one turning out?
I like Ooh La La. I like ULL, Louisiana Lafayette. Good coach. They should be still having a spirited effort. So I think they run away with that thing.
We're going to have a show sweep as Brett and Dave both take Ooh La La. I'm going to take them as well. And Billy Napier, obviously big news from the week, turning down the Auburn job, staying there at Louisiana where he has just built a monster of a program. I mean, 19th in the country right now, 9-1 season. Can only see that Ooh La La program getting better. On the last one that we're going to pick, because I think that's going to be the last one of the weekend before we come back in here on Monday and pick everything through the New Year's Six. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers taking on Georgia State University. That one's going to be played. And I think this will be the last bowl game at Ladd's Peoples Stadium in Mobile, Alabama, as I believe that one will be switched to the new on-campus field at South Alabama next year. So the Mobile Bowl, Georgia State getting is -4.5 over the Hilltoppers. Between me, Dave, and Brett, I'm going to be out on an island right now. I'm going to take Western Kentucky. I've seen Western Kentucky play. I think they're a decent team, pretty much right on pace with Georgia State, and I think the Hilltoppers pull it out. Dave, like I said, Dave and Brett's going to take Georgia State. Gabe, who you got?
I'm going to go ahead and take Georgia State -3. You want an explanation?
Yeah, give me one.
I have no idea.
Okay.
I just picked.
Kind of like me and La Tech and Georgia Southern.
Of all the bowl games, this Lending Tree Bowl seems very, very evenly matched. It's hard. I'll take Georgia State, though.
See, that's what happens when it comes down to a lot of these bowls, and especially, we being both, I guess, P6 or Group of 5 schools, depending on who you're talking to and how they want to refer it. I don't want to downplay that I don't know a lot about these teams and stuff, but, it's kind of hard to keep up with the middle-of-the-pack Sun Belt teams or the middle-of-the-pack Conference USA type of teams or the middle-of-the-pack Mountain West teams. I mean, you just don't have as much tape and much of a book on those as you do your Big Tens or your SECs. And that is our Friday football forecast brought to you by First National Bank and Trust. On the other side of the break, we're going to get to some more NBA. Obviously, we talked about at the top of this segment, the big news out of the NBA Thunders and Rockets game postponed due to the fact that the Rockets have positive tests in their facility, in their locker room, and contact tracing. They do not have the 8 eligible players to play tonight against the Oklahoma City Thunder in their season opener. But we're going to talk about that, more NBA stuff on the other side, so don't go anywhere. You're listening to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Get happy with Sports 56 Happy Hour with Johnny Radio. Weekday afternoons from 1 to 3 on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses. I Buy Houses will buy a house in any area, in any condition, and yes, it's guaranteed to close in 5 days. If you need to sell your home quickly, call 901-406-1101. If you've been through a divorce, if you lost your job, if you're tired of renters, I Buy Houses can get you your money quickly. I Buy Houses will buy your home in Shelby County, DeSoto County, Memphis, Bartlett, South Haven, Horn Lake, Olive Branch, anywhere and everywhere in between, in any condition. And yes, they're open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I Buy Houses, 901-406-1101. That's 901-406-1101. Grab that pen, 901-406-1101. I Buy Houses.
Looking for a great place to deposit your money? Try First Bank. Competitive CD rates, a money market that moves with Wall Street prime and interest-bearing checking account options. Not to mention their friendly bankers who make decisions locally. To find out more, stop by one of First Bank's 3 local branches. 6482 Poplar Avenue, just east of International Paper. 8398 Highway 64 across from Wolf Chase. And 6280 Highway 64 in Oakland. Or visit firstbankonline.com. Member FDIC.
Spend the holidays at home this year with a little help from Family Leisure. Family Leisure has so many spas on order. Now's your time to really save big. Huge savings on pool tables, game tables, arcades, massage chairs, and a whole lot more. Buy a pool now and save the 2021 price increase. Plus, you'll get early installation scheduling. The Holidays at Home sale happening now at Family Leisure, Whidden Road at I-40, where family and fun come together for the holidays.
It's time, Memphis. Tune into Fox Sports Southeast and watch your next-gen Grizzlies tonight at 7 p.m. when they open the regular season against the San Antonio Spurs, presented by FanDuel Sportsbook.
Water damage to your home or business can be an absolute nightmare. And the faster you remove the standing water, the faster you can prevent secondary damage. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services specializes in water extraction. They have been a trusted name in the Mid-South for over 20 years. They are a Memphis-based company ready to serve your needs with their 24-hour emergency response. They are always on call and will respond within an hour. They work with most insurance companies and are the official restoration contractor of the Memphis Tigers home team. Landmark Construction and Emergency Services can't prevent disasters in your home and at your business, but their water damage team will certainly respond quickly to minimize and restore the damage. Call 901-452-0390. That's 901-452-0390 or online at landmarkco.org.
Experience elevated luxury at Genesis of Wolf Chase. Push the limits of style and performance with the all-new first-ever 2021 Genesis GV80. With a perfect balance of luxurious amenities and rugged off-road capabilities, or drive the cutting-edge G80 packed with intuitive technology and unmatched luxurious amenities. All with Genesis Concierge Service. Free pickup and delivery, free oil changes, and car washes. Shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit wolfchasegenesis.com.
Now, more of Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by Homer Skelton Hyundai. Here once again are Dave Ocean and Brett Norsworthy.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. No Dave Woloshin, no Brett Norsworthy today. Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn in for those guys. Dave will be back to the program with me on Monday, but Gabe doing a great job helping me pulling double duty today, both co-hosting and producing the program. Big news out of the NBA. If you have not heard, the Thunders and Rockets game has been postponed due to COVID-19 in the Rockets locker room. But we do still have a lot of great games going on, including the Grizzlies against San Antonio tonight. We've got Miami and Orlando, Washington Sixers. We've got Milwaukee and Boston, the Tampa Bay Raptors versus Zion Williamson and the New Orleans Pelicans. Still a lot of great NBA action tonight, and of course close it out with Dallas and Phoenix, which I think that's going to be a good matchup. Gabe, what game are you most likely to watch tonight besides the Grizzlies and Spurs?
I have a couple, and obviously the main one is the early TNT game. You look at that Bucks versus Celtics game. Very early Eastern Conference look at what the playoffs may look like. Maybe a possible Eastern Conference final that we could be looking at. And you want to see.
That's if we get one of those teams can knock off the Nets. I mean, because
right.
Obviously,
no question.
Brooklyn looked really good last night.
No question, but that's a possibility. But I do want to see what Drew Holiday looks like with the Bucks, if he can be a guy that Giannis can default to. Because what's happened with that team is they become too one-dimensional come playoff time, and Giannis, they build the wall in front of the hoop, and it becomes tough for him to drive and get points that way. The other one that I'm looking at is the late game, and the only reason I'm looking at this one really hard, I think these are two up-and-coming teams in Phoenix and Dallas. Dallas, we get Luka. Luka's absolutely, positively fantastic. He's the favorite to win the MVP
I was about to
this
say,
year.
odds-on favorite.
Keep your eyes on him. Kristaps Porzingis is fantastic. 7'3", can stroke it from deep. But that Suns team, getting Chris Paul, you have Devin Booker, you have DeAndre Ayton. I want to see what that team looks like this year. Are they a playoff team? Are they a team that could make a run come playoff time? I think we'll get somewhat of an answer on how they're meshing early in the season tonight.
Game tipping off right before that, the second last game tonight, Utah and Portland. I think that's going to be a really good matchup. Obviously, I think that Donovan Mitchell is one of the best young and upcoming players. I think that he's only a few years away from winning his first MVP award. But Gabe, as far as with the season getting underway, we obviously saw the Nets take on the Warriors last night. We haven't even had a chance to really mention James Wiseman getting his first start and playing in his first competitive game.
Looked relatively good.
Exactly. I mean, we haven't seen him in over a year.
Ended with 19 and 6 last night. Ended up shooting 1 3, making 1 3. If he can be a guy that can stretch the floor out and shoot threes and make threes on a regular basis, he is going to be the steal of this year's draft. And I know he went second, and I can still call him a steal because I think
one team did pass him up.
I think he literally has the most upside in this draft this year, given how athletic he is, given how much he can stretch the floor, if he can get that shot to be consistent. I love his makeup, and it's the equivalent for me. I forget which draft it was, but when Jason Tatum went 4th overall, it's like what. I think it was Markelle Fultz and Lonzo Ball and those guys.
Markelle Fultz is slowly but surely. I mean, somewhat.
And Lonzo's a good player.
I mean, Markelle Fultz is somewhat coming back as a decent player for the Orlando Magic, but I still think he could still be considered very high on a lot of people's top 10 bust list.
But you have to understand, like, in certain situations, I get that you have to draft where you need and what the necessity is at that moment. But, James Wiseman, and I think back then with Jason Tatum, they were guys that you just looked at, and it's like, why are they not the first overall picks? What is keeping them from being that? But again, necessity certainly has a part in that.
Yeah, it definitely does. Other game that we saw last night, Lakers and Clippers. Lakers obviously getting their rings. Didn't unveil the banner, though. Kept it up. Black sheet over it until fans are allowed in the Staples Center. I thought that was a very cool and nice move by the Lakers organization to save that for the fans, because while the rings are for the players, those banners are for the fans. I think they're the ones that look up there and remember the memories more than the players do. The rings are for players, banners are for the fans and the common folk. But great NBA action tonight. Going to see how this 72-game season really unfolds. All the ups and downs of the normal, regular times NBA season. There are just how much more up and downs there's going to be this year. But that is hour 2 in the books. On the other side of the break is start hour 3. We will talk pretty much everything from the Tampa Bay Raptors, Tampa Bay Bucks. We're going to talk some Tigers, maybe throwing some golf, college football, anything and everything with TJ Reeves from the sideline reporter for Bucks Radio and the host of the 3 Dog Thursday podcast. And I've been meaning to say this all day. I want your Grizzlies expectations at the First Bank text line. What do you think they start the first month with for first 4 games and their overall record at the end of the season? So send us those texts our way at 67129 on the First Bank text line. Don't go anywhere. We'll be right back after the break here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
The folks at Homer Skelton Hyundai want to say thank you. Thank you, Memphis, for another spectacular year. They set records, but I can understand why. You think about the product. Where else do you get a 10-year, 100,000-mile limited powertrain warranty? That's what you get on every new car at Homer Skelton Hyundai. Oh, and thank you again for the 11th straight year, the #1 certified pre-owned car dealership in all of Memphis. It starts with that product, but then it goes to the shopper assurance. Where else do you go where you get transparent pricing, flexible test drive? Take the car for a couple of days if you want. Streamlined buying process. You're not going to be there all day, in and out. And then, and I have not seen this anywhere else, the 3-day worry-free exchange. You buy a new car, if you've got any buyer's remorse, you've got 3 days to change your mind. Just get on Lamar, take it into Mississippi, the first exit's Craft Road, turn left, and go see Chris True and all the gang at Homer Skelton Hyundai.
How's the Christmas shopping going? Frontier Western Store and Olive Branch is here to make it a lot easier. Everyone loves something from Frontier. Ladies' boutique style clothing, Carhartt for the guys, and boots for everyone. For Frontier's boutique department, you'll find the latest trends at incredible prices. We also carry a huge inventory of basics like leggings, tops, tunics, dresses, CC beanies, scarves, gloves, new styles of fleece jackets, and much, much more. Guys will be after Frontier's large assortment of Carhartt and Ariat jeans and shirts. Now, how about a new coat, jacket, or insulated overalls? Frontier has that too. Don't forget the boots. Work boots and dress boots from Rocky, Dan Post, Ariat, and more.
Frontier is the place to come for name brand boots at an everyday low price. There are thousands of boots available in all sizes for men, women, and children. Frontier gift cards are also available and make a perfect last-minute gift. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or shop online 24/7 at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
What's up, Memphis? This is former Memphis kicker Steven Gostkowski. I know you've heard of Platinum Jewelers by now. You've heard from former Grizzly Mike Miller and my man D'Angelo Williams tell you about them. Now take it from me, a two-time Super Bowl champ. Platinum Jewelers is the best in the business. When it's time for jewelry, make sure you give Platinum Jewelers a look before you buy.
Platinum Jewelers has a brand new location in Germantown at 9387 Poplar Avenue. Visit them or at 545 Perkins Extended in East Memphis or online at platinumjewelers.com.
The NFL is in its final leg of the season. College basketball is back, and the NBA is ready to tip off. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds boosts on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action out of every game day. And if you win, they even get you your winnings safely in as little as 24 hours. Right now, FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place a bet on any game, and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started, and be sure to sign up with promo code BIGHEAD so they know I sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code BIGHEAD. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789.
Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
We are Sports 56 WHBQ Memphis, W253DF Memphis, and WIVG Tunica Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations. Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wolo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
The NFL in its final leg of the season, the bowl season here, college basketball back, NBA tipping off. Add a little excitement to your sports watching experience by betting on all the action on FanDuel Sportsbook. There's a reason why FanDuel is America's #1 sportsbook. Their app is simple to use. They've got great odds on all different betting markets, unique, fun bet types like same-game parlay, and exclusive, always-on promotions such as enhanced odds, boosts on the biggest events, and bet insurance to let you get more action at every game day. Easy to use, easy to sign up, range of betting options, and right now FanDuel is letting you place your first bet risk-free up to $1,000. Just place any bet on any game and FanDuel will refund you up to $1,000 back if you don't win your first bet. Seriously, no strings attached. Just place any bet you want. If you win, you keep the cash. If you lose, you'll get your entire bet up to $1,000 back in site credit. If you've never tried FanDuel Sportsbook, what are you waiting for? Download the FanDuel Sportsbook app to get started and be sure to sign up with promo code CASH so they know we sent you. That's FanDuel Sportsbook, promo code CASH. Must be 21 or older and present in Tennessee. Site credit is non-withdrawable and expires 14 days after receipt. Terms apply. See sportsbook.fanduel.com for details. For problem gambling support, call 1-800-889-9789. Our 5 o'clock hour brought to you every day by DeSoto Auto Sales down on Goodman Road at 5704 Goodman Road. Come on down to DeSoto County. and have that town and country experience with DeSoto Auto Sales. Go online, check out the many happy referrals at DeSotoAutosales.com. All the cars test driven, all checked out, bumper to bumper, unlimited inventory, every make, every model. If it's not on the lot, they'll go out and find it for you at DeSoto Auto Sales, where you're treated like family by kind, courteous employees, laid-back atmosphere, no high-pressure sales, laid-back atmosphere, and they care about your time, and they want you to have the ultimate car experience. They know we're living in a world today that time really matters. You can test drive your car, credit approved, paperwork completed, and you're gone in 45 minutes or less at DeSoto Auto Sales. And time to do it during your busy lunch hour or right after work every single day. At 5704 Goodman Road, 662-890-7184. Come on down for that town and country experience to DeSoto Auto Sales on Goodman Road.
And welcome back to Sports Time with Wallow and Stats on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. No Dave, no Brett, as they are both off today, and we'll be back to the programs next week. Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn filling in, Gabe pulling double duty, so much appreciation to him co-hosting and producing the show. Before we get to TJ Reeves on pretty much everything, the silent reporter of Bucks, the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, host of the Three Dog Thursday podcast. You just want to remind everybody, Tigers and the Owls of FAU are kicking off in the Montgomery Bowl here in exactly an hour. Your Memphis Grizzlies get their season started here in 2 hours against the San Antonio Spurs. So a lot to look forward to over today and over the Christmas holiday. Without further ado, let's go ahead and get to our good friend TJ Reeves, who I confused the heck out of yesterday with constantly texting him times. But thank you so much, TJ, for being flexible and being able to join us.
You were like the airlines. You were like the airlines and trying to get the flight on time and the connection on time, and let's get everybody going in the holidays and the hustle and bustle of the airport. But the good news is, as long as you arrive safely, that's all that matters. And here we are. Here we are in this hour of the program. It is great to be with you. And as you mentioned, you got Tiger football going on here in a little while. That's where Dave is. You got the Grizzlies tonight. So we have some like little Christmas gifts in the stocking or under the tree before we ever get to Friday, guys.
Yeah, we really do, TJ. And before we get to what's happening tonight and going on throughout this weekend, I do want to get your thoughts, because I know you and Tiki Barber were on the call for the Big Ten championship, which on the face value, Ohio State, if it wasn't for Trey Sermon, probably ends up losing that game just due to the fact that Justin Fields looked kind of awful. What was your big takeaway of the Ohio State Buckeyes after that one?
Well, it's interesting because I know Brett was talking to me about this last week with you about, hey, you've seen Alabama, which I've gotten the privilege to see them 3 times in person this year doing Compass Media Networks, and then got to see Ohio State with the full understanding that there were several key Ohio State players. Chris Olave, the wide receiver, who's an NFL caliber wide receiver. There's captain in the secondary and arguably their best defensive player, Marcus Hooker. They didn't play because of COVID contact tracing and the COVID problems that they have. So I understand that those 2 guys weren't there. There were several other names that are starters or part-time players for them that couldn't play. Still, I was unimpressed, guys. I mean, they look like a team that had played 1 game in about a month because of COVID tracing. They had a very slow start. Northwestern had every chance to win that game in the second half. And you cannot convince me that if you line those guys up with Clemson or Alabama, that they're going to be able to stay with either one of them. I believe that Clemson is going to boat race Ohio State come January 1st, probably by 2 touchdowns, maybe 3 touchdowns or more. As much as Buckeye Big Ten fan doesn't want to hear that, I watched it for 3 hours last weekend. There's not the same level of speed, of intensity, all the common criticisms that we hear outside the SEC. I watched it firsthand. I know they're traditionally one of the best teams in the upper Midwest and the Big Ten. They were not overwhelming. They weren't anywhere close to overwhelming, and I've seen Alabama now 3 times overwhelm people. So there you go. There's my take on the Buckeyes, and I'm actually surprised that spread's not even bigger, guys.
In fact, very underwhelming. And I look at Justin Fields and basically the QB2 on most everybody's board. I think Zach Wilson starting to make that point. But that game and his two money games this year against Indiana and Northwestern, the two ranked teams, their two best wins on their schedule, he has underperformed drastically. How do you feel about Justin Fields at the next level? Is it going to be a huge learning curve for him, or is this a guy you think can actually step in an NFL offense and get it in year one?
His stock, it's a good question, has taken a hit. There's no doubt. I know his thumb was apparently bothering him, especially in the second half of the game with some of the throws. Again, best receiver not there, but you can't tell me that he's anywhere in the same state. You're in Tennessee. I'm in Florida. He's not in the same state with Trevor Lawrence,
right?
Figuratively. He is not in the same state with Kyle Trask, who is in Florida. I mean, Zach Wilson last night, did he just throw another one on UCF in the Boca Raton Bowl?
He might have.
He could have thrown about 15 more.
If you are talking about NFL ready with size and the arm and the full package and the whole thing, Justin Fields is not in that conversation. Not right now. Maybe he ends up being like a second or third round pick, but he took a real hit from that game, and we'll see how he does in the semifinal with Brent Venables' defense. But I think it's a very good question, and it was interesting, guys. It was eerie because they only had about 2,500 people inside of Lucas Oil Stadium because the Big Ten was only allowing immediate family and friends on a certain amount of tickets. So there was about 1,000 each side in a 70,000-seat facility where the Indianapolis Colts play. So it was weird, but Ohio State, far from impressive on the eyeball test. And we could spend another 15 minutes on the committee, the CFP committee, which had apparently made its mind up back in the middle of October that as long as Ohio State is upright, we're going to put them in the playoff. That's apparently what they decided, and they followed through.
Yeah, I think that's exactly what they decided. And before we get into that CFP conversation, you mentioned that you were at Lucas Oil Stadium. And on TV, it looks so great. And all the NFL stadiums that you've had the pleasure to work in, where would that one rank? It always seems like on TV, aesthetically, it looks like it'd be a top 10 place to watch a football game.
It's really cool, and they can have the retractable roof and the whole thing, and the new Mercedes-Benz Stadium where Alabama played. Florida obviously opens up like a camera lens in a circular motion up in the top. So it's just interesting. And I've had the chance to be at U.S. Bank Stadium. I know Brett was there for the Super Bowl with the Patriots and the Eagles. I've been there for a Final Four and been there with the Bucs in the regular season. Have not been to those new palaces. Heck, nobody's been there to either Las Vegas and Allegiant Stadium or SoFi Stadium in Los Angeles, with the new NFL venues. So I'm anxious to see those. But, yeah, Lucas Oil Stadium is definitely there as one of the top, let's say the top 8 venues right now on the new ones in the NFL. And that's why the Final Four is there all the time, just because of the venue, and you can walk to everything in downtown Indianapolis. So, yeah, it was cool to be there. It was a privilege to be there and call a Big Ten championship game and give Ohio State credit. They won the game. Just don't tell me when you watch the Clemson game, it will be obvious. And unless there's something shockingly wrong with Clemson, it is obvious the talent disparity and what we've seen so far this year out of these two teams. And, again, we could go on and on about the reason the CFP wants them included has more to do with green, the color green, the color of money than anything else, more than merit on the field. That's why Ohio State is in there.
Very, very true, TJ. And that's one thing that drives me absolutely insane is that I think that the college football playoff thinks that college football fans and football fans in general can only care about 4 to 6 programs in college football, that we have no idea who anybody outside of Alabama, Clemson, Ohio State, and Notre Dame, they think we don't know anything about those programs, and it kind of is like a slap to the face that you think that we're that stupid and that's the only way we would watch. But TJ, if you were in the room and you got the final say, what would your top 4 have been, and how close would a Cincinnati been to getting in there?
I think Cincinnati had merit in a wacky 2020 year, and I know we're slanted towards the AAC because I went to Memphis, got USF in this market, UCF down the road, and you guys talk a lot about the American Conference. And honestly, in the upper Midwest and the West, they're not talking about the American Conference. I get that. But I think you had a stronger argument for Cincinnati with a larger body of work and winning the championship game for the 9th game that they were able to play the other night. to put them in the top 4 in front of even the same team in their state, Ohio State. I think Notre Dame had a stronger argument with 10 wins and having beaten Clemson, who's in the playoff, having beaten North Carolina at North Carolina late in the year, and North Carolina's good. North Carolina ends up getting in the Orange Bowl. I know they got 3 losses, but ask Miami. Ask 500 yards rushing on the U whether North Carolina is pretty good, and North Carolina didn't score on Notre Dame the whole second half at home. Shut out. So I think Notre Dame has a stronger argument. If you're asking me, I would have probably put Cincinnati in even above Texas A&M. I know Jimbo Fisher was politicking like he's running for governor of Texas. I get it, but he had to do that. But they lost to Alabama in the biggest game that they played. They did beat Florida in the second biggest game. I still would have loved to have seen, and we've seen these American teams get in and pull the upsets. UCF with Auburn, Houston beating Florida State. Be very careful about Cincinnati now in the bowl game with Georgia. That'll be very interesting as well, guys.
There's a freaking laundry list of issues with the college football playoff rankings. Usually it doesn't matter outside of the top 4, but it matters to me. You know, when I see a team like Georgia get preferential treatment in the top 10 the entire year with no real wins, I think they got better with JT Daniels, but whatever. As far as the wins go, they didn't really have anything on their schedule worth note. Indiana not getting into a New Year's Six, I thought that was disappointing considering what they did with Ohio State. A lot of arbitrary rulings and decisions that go into the college football playoff ranking. What is the TJ Reeves decision on how you fix it? What needs to be done? Is it an expansion? Is it a fixed committee? Is it media members instead of, Power 5 commissioners? What can be done
or do we just need
to fix this situation?
Accept it for the way it is?
I think at the moment it's the last thing you said. They're not going to expand beyond 4 teams. They want what we've done for the last 10 minutes. They want arguing. They want screaming because it fuels the next games of the next weekend of who's going to win or where. And part of their argument would be, okay, Northwestern had a chance to eliminate Ohio State, and they could not beat them. Florida had a chance by beating LSU in their last regular season game and beating Alabama, if they could have won both of those games to be in the playoff, and they couldn't do it. That a lot of times teams eliminate themselves at the end of this season, but I don't think you're going to see 8 teams. In fact, I know you're not going to see 8 teams anytime in the next 6 years of that first contract because they want the screaming. It fuels the sport. I know Wolo disagrees with me, and he can be wrong if he wants to, that the 8-team playoff would still have the same level of controversy and screaming. It wouldn't. It would, because right now, under the present scenario, then Cincinnati would have gotten in, and Texas A&M would have gotten in, and Oklahoma would have gotten in, and where's the debate about any of that? For those 8 teams, there wouldn't be any debate.
No, you just debate on the 9 and 10 team who feels like they got slayed.
At that point, what are we debating? Who are we debating? We're debating 3-loss Florida and 3-loss Iowa State and those kind of things. So it's not the same. I don't think they're going to change it anytime soon. But again, we will all watch next weekend. That'll be the case. We will watch with those playoff semifinals. I just don't know. I was shocked that the line is that big on Alabama Notre Dame, that it was 20, and I guess it's just based on how badly Clemson beat them in the ACC title game. And I was actually surprised that the Clemson-Ohio State line isn't more for their matchup. But we'll watch and we'll see if one or both of them are at least competitive games. We'll find out. Or are we looking at Alabama and Clemson for like the 83rd time? We'll find out.
I think we definitely are on track to get Alabama and Clemson and the semifinals games. Besides one game, I think the Georgia game at the Georgia and OU game at the Rose Bowl, most of the semifinals games have just been unwatchable. But like you said, we'll be watching regardless. But onto the NFL and the game that you had on Sunday in the ATL. How about the Bucs? And more frankly, Matt Ryan doing it. Matt Ryan and the Atlanta Falcons giving up another big lead to Tom Brady.
Amazing. So I did that Big Ten title game, traveled back here, got ready for what was a large game for the Bucs to try to make the playoffs, and they were just non-existent in the first half. And Zach, I know you played at the highest level here with the Tigers, so you got more insight on how this stuff can and can't happen. But the Bucs have repeatedly gone in and just played poorly in the first half, can't make first downs, can't stop the other team. It's been a nasty trend for them really for the last few weeks, and it was there again Sunday, and Atlanta looked like $1 million. They're winning 17-0 at the half. But we even said on our halftime coverage on Buccaneers radio, this has happened before. In fact, it was 28-3 before.
It was.
Don't count the Bucs out against Matt Ryan because Tom Brady's at the helm, and he was brilliant. Guys, he threw for 330 yards in the second half. I mean, I'm off the air telling the legendary play-by-play voice of Buccaneer football, Gene Deckoff. I'm like, Gene, he's got 300 yards, and we're early in the fourth quarter. This is crazy. So a great comeback by the Bucs. It says more about how bad the Falcons are, that they have now blown a lead of 16 or more points 3 times this year, including Sunday, to lose games. Great comeback win. Now my Buccaneers will play Saturday after Christmas. You'll see it everywhere on the NFL Network standalone game. If they win, they're in with no other help. One more win in the last 2 weeks, the Bucs are in. And get a load of this, guys. You know I talk about my 12-year-old twin daughters whenever I get the chance. The Buccaneers have not been in the playoffs since the Twins were born. 2007. John Gruden, 2007. So we could be talking the P-word playoffs as soon as Saturday for the Bucs to get in. Let's see if they can. And it's going to be wild in the NFL for the last couple of weekends of the season on who is in, who is out.
So I've been trying to figure out, and with the Bucs, I know coming into the season, getting Tom Brady in the offseason, thinking that him and Bruce Arians were going to put together what they have so far on offense. The expectations were relatively high for the fan base. And, you know, going into this year, you want to try to get wins against the Saints, the in-division opponents. What has the overall fan feeling been around this team so far, being 9-5, being in the position they are in to make the playoffs? Were the expectations higher than what they are right this second, or were they right about on par with what we're seeing?
Oh, it was sky high to be a Super Bowl team back in August, and Bruce Arians, the coach, has even joked, hey, everybody was handing us the Lombardi Trophy back in August, and you realize you got to go out and actually play a game and actually win a game to do this. And then you went into a little bit of a swoon here in November where the Saints clocked this team. We joked about it with you guys, with Brett and Dave, and with you guys on Sports 56. I didn't have an answer. The Bucs were like blindfolded with an arm tied behind their back, getting punched left and right and behind and upside down by the Saints in that game. And so once they lost that game and then they lost a Monday night game at home to the Rams, a lot of the wind, a lot of the air came out of the balloon. However, all you want is to get in and have the chance to go pull some upsets. Look no further than about 3 hours up the road from you guys in Nashville last year, where they simply got in, the Tennessee Titans, and they go and they beat the Patriots and Brady in his final game, as it turns out, in New England, then go and beat Lamar Jackson and the Ravens in Baltimore, and really hung with the Chiefs and Mahomes for a lot of that game. All you want is the chance. Punch your ticket and get into the playoffs, and that's the mindset right now here of the fan base. Just get us in and see what Brady can do. We know all about the history of him never having won multiple road playoff games on the road because New England in the same playoffs, because New England's never on the road multiple playoff games in the same playoffs. But that's going to have to be the case this year in 2020, in the weird 2020. But I like their chances, and there's a strong argument too that when you keep going to all of these road sites in the playoffs and there are no fans there, that's going to make a difference too. Than playing at the Superdome with the Saint fans in full voice, or playing in freezing cold Lambeau with 70,000 Packer fans, and you're now going and playing in an empty stadium. It will be different. It will be odd across the board in the NFL for sure.
Yeah, we're talking to TJ Reeves of the Bucs radio crew and host of the 3 Dog Thursday podcast. TJ, I'm going to hold this to you. I'll hold this to you. In 20 years, it's December 23rd, 2040. Your twins are grown up and married, and all that.
God.
They'll be 32
what
at the time.
What are you doing to me? What are you doing to me?
We'll also have a 31-year-old Charlie Woods. How many majors does Charlie Woods have by his 31th birthday?
You know that I love golf, and Wolo and Brett love golf. And wasn't that fun to watch how much he mimics his dad, and our kids hopefully try to mimic us, with those of us that are parents, in a good way, not our bad habits and the bad things that we say. You know, I got one twin that's on my case all the time. Dad, you say that all the time. You tell me not to say that. You say that all the time. So,
here's the best answer. This is what my dad always says: "Do as I say, not as I do."
Exactly. Well, it's like our politicians right now. The rules are for thee, not for me. But to watch him mimic Tiger with a fist bump after making a putt, how tremendous was that? I don't know. Does Charlie Woods really want to be a professional golfer ultimately? Does he really want to chase the greatness that his dad had? I don't know. But that was it was fun. I'll go along with you. If you're giving me the under-over, does he become a PGA Tour golfer? Yes or no? I go yes. The under-over is one major. I'll give Charlie Woods one major in the next 20 years between now and him being 31 years old. Are you going with me?
I'm going with you.
Are you guys with me, or what have you already said?
I'm going over. And you probably could have set the number at 5, and I'd probably go over.
Wow. I said that, hey, who better to mentor him on being mentally tough and the swing and the whole thing? I mean, it was just neat to watch. And there are a lot of tour players and famous golfers whose offspring have gone on to play well. I mean, I know you didn't ask me this, but over on the LPGA Tour, there was a tennis player in the 90s named Peter Korda, who was not John McEnroe. Mm-hmm. He's not Pete Sampras. He's not the present-day Federer, Nadal, or whatever. But his two daughters are phenomenal golfers. Jessica, and I think it's Nelly Korda, Korda. They've dominated junior golf, and they're over on the LPGA Tour. So just on the point about your offspring, your kids, your sons or your daughters, there's something about greatness in athletes and being able to pass it on to them, and we've seen it across all kinds of other sports too, where we watch, Steph Curry playing as the son of Del Curry in the NBA. Ken Griffey Jr. comes to mind in baseball. What about Charlie Woods? Maybe that'll be next. It's a great question as we ponder that.
Yeah, maybe he will be the next one. Up next to a break. So, TJ, got about 30 seconds to answer this, but Christmas is 2 days away. You're writing a letter to Sports Santa. What are you asking him for?
I am asking that we stay healthy. I'm not copping out on you. That we stay healthy and we get these games in, because there is more and more growing concern. Are we going to be able to continue to play in college basketball, for example? Are we going to be able to continue to play the NFL playoffs once it all starts up? I just want us to stay safe and have the games. And I understand it stinks that we have no fans right now, but we got to deal with it while we deal with it. I'm asking Santa, let's keep playing the games, because for a long time earlier in 2020, we weren't sure if we were going to have games or not. Now we do. Let's hope that we all stay safe. That's my hope.
Absolutely. I'm with you on that one.
Absolutely. Thanks so much for joining us today, TJ. Merry Christmas. Happy holiday to you, Mrs. Reeves, and the twins, and the rest of the family. Have a great Merry Christmas and
have
stay
a
safe.
good one, TJ.
Thank you. Boys, be well. Go Tigers tonight with FAU, with Willie Taggart and Jim Levitt, the former two USF coaches who coach now for Florida Atlantic. Go Tigers tonight in Montgomery. You guys be well. Merry Christmas to the audience that's out there. Thank you, boys.
Thanks, TJ. That is TJ Reeves, a sideline reporter for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and host of the 3 Dog Thursday podcast. We are up against the break. On the other side, we will have the head honcho, Steve Earhart of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, walk us through everything that has happened in this crazy week. So don't touch that dial. We'll be right back here on Sports Time on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Same great shows.
We welcome you back to Sports 56 Middays.
What's up? It's Sports 56 Happy Hour.
A new spot on the FM dial. Check out Sports 56 on our new FM home at 98.5.
All 36-month leases, $31.49 due at signing, 0 security deposit, $650 acquisition fee, 10,000 miles per year, 20 cents excess mileage, Forte, ME 299.10, MSRP 20,625, Soul M7755 682, MSRP 20,315, K5MG 003,199, MSRP 25,725, includes all manufacturer rebates and incentives, PF 695, excludes tax title license with approved credit warranties, a limited powertrain warranty. See Kia.com or retailer for details. Offer valid through 12/31/20, dealer stock only.
Are you ready to be happy this holiday season? Well, we got you covered at Gossett Kia South Mount Moriah. So come be happy with Kia's holiday sales event. Command the season. 2020 Kia Forte, $142 a month lease. 2021 Kia Soul, $148 a month lease. Plus 2021 Kia K5, $192 a month lease. All just 36 months, $31.49 due at signing. Stay happy all season long with Forte, $142, Soul, $148, Kia K5, $192. So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia, 2680 Mount Moriah, or KiaMountMoriah.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
I'm here with the great Pat Donahue from the Rendezvous Restaurant Shipping Department.
Thanks, Brett. We've been shipping our ribs all over the country now for decades from our USDA-inspected shipping kitchen in the Pinch District. We hand-cook our ribs in pits that Mr. Charlie built over charcoal, just like they do at the restaurant.
So what comes in a rib box?
We could do pork shoulder, we could do ribs, our sauce, seasoning, baked beans, coleslaw. We'll even throw in Pancho's cheese dip with our nacho boxes. We also put a bag of Rendezvous seasoned popcorn, heating instructions, some chef hats, some wet naps, and some other helpful tips from our kitchen. We ship our ribs overnight, exclusively FedEx. And we put them in nice packaging. We don't ever want to use styrofoam, so we use corrugated cardboard, actually 2 boxes that fit nice together, so the ribs get to you, your loved ones, or your clients in a safe, wholesome manner. Rendezvous ribs are perfect for out-of-town clients, customers, loved ones. We also ship ribs for any occasion.
Where do we order these great ribs?
You can go to www.hogsfly.com or give us a call at 1-888-464-7359.
Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous Restaurant in the alley since 1948.
Kick off your New Year's weekend at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl as the West Virginia Mountaineers take on the Army Black Knights. It's all happening Thursday, December 31st at 3 o'clock. We'll be following all of the required health and safety guidelines to provide you the safest conditions possible. So wear your mask and join us at the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. For tickets, call 795-7700 or go to Ticketmaster.com. The Tennessee Highway Safety Office reminds you that fans don't let fans drive drunk.
Experience elevated luxury at Genesis of Wolf Chase. We invite you to test drive the new 2021 Genesis G70, where turbocharged power and track-worthy handling are packaged in a sleek profile with a dramatic stance. The G70 pushes the boundaries of luxury performance. Plus, every Genesis of Wolf Chase comes with Genesis Concierge Service, free pickup and delivery of your Genesis, and free oil changes and car washes. Shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit wolfchasegenesis.com.
Hi, this is John Conway with Conway Services. Did you notice your hot water heater not heating as well last winter? During the cold winter months, groundwater is colder and requires more energy to heat the water, and sometimes old, inefficient tanked water heaters just can't keep up. It may be time for a tankless water heater from Conway Services that never runs out of hot water. Conway Services is making now the perfect time for a new tankless water heater with 12 months interest free, or I'll pay you $250 for that old tank water heater. Plus, these energy-saving models only heat the water you use, saving you money on your gas bill every month. And no more worrying about that tank bursting in your attic either. So call Conway Services, the Mid-South's premier tankless water heater professionals at 384-3511. That's 384-3511. And the first 30 callers with a 10-year-old water heater will come out and inspect it absolutely free.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Wallo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Woloshin and Brett Norsworthy.
And welcome back to Sports Time with Wallo and Stats on Sports 56, 98.5 and 96.1. No Wallo, no Stats. Drew Barrett, Gabe Kuhn filling in for you as we take you all the way to 6 o'clock here on this Christmas Eve. Without further ado, I do want to go ahead and get to our next guest, the head honcho, the big cheese of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, Steve Earhart. Steve, Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and yours. And to start off, just please take us through the hectic Monday that it was, about 3 o'clock. Find out there's COVID problems at the University of Tennessee. And then in about 3.5 hours later, you had another opponent for the Mountaineers of West Virginia.
Well, you're right. It was an amazing 48 hours. It actually, on Sunday night, we had all the enthusiasm. Philip Fulmer was on our press conference talking about how excited the Vols were to be here, and we were talking about that Philip played in the 1971 AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and we were going to use his picture when he was an offensive lineman, and he had been named to the team of the decades there in the 70s bowl history. And so then by 8 o'clock in the morning, when Philip called me and said, hey, we got some testing problems here going on, and then I could tell that there was some problems. So, immediately I picked up the phone and called some of my friends up at the West Point, because I had read about that they had been unfortunately left out, and their team was devastated after they had finished the season 9-2, won the Commanders-in-Chief trophy, and then they'd had a contract all year long with the Independence Bowl down there. And so by the time I called them, pulled their athletic director out of a military board of directors meeting, and then we had to go through with the ESPN and with the Big 12 and the SEC, and then got everything organized. And then by 6:30 that night, we got it out. And in the meantime, I didn't realize, but some of your listeners know, that I guess social media was just entirely blowing up. It was the biggest story of the day there on Sunday evening when the cadet corps got left out of the game, and it was a big story everywhere. And so by that time, when we announced it on 6:30, normally when you put it out on social media, you might get 80,000 hits, when you announce a team. Now, that's about what we got with Tennessee, about impressions, usually the folks around the university. But get this, and this is actual facts, between 6:30 on Monday night and noon on Tuesday morning yesterday, and guess how many impressions there were, because this was a national story about West Point. There were over 5 million impressions about, Army being in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. And so it was just a phenomenal national story. And so, again, my hat's off to, West Virginia, being willing to play them. We had to work through that. And then, of course, our organization, stepped in and basically saved Army from a real devastating situation. Their coach said their players were devastated on Sunday night, and then it was pure elation on Monday night when they got the bid from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So yes, but so it's a national story. We're just proud to make it happen for the West Point to be here on December 31st to play in the 62nd AutoZone Liberty Bowl.
I am so excited for the matchup. Seeing Army in there, I'm so glad that you guys did such a good thing. You guys opened your arms, wanted Army to be part of the game, so I definitely want to tip my cap to you guys over there. That was absolutely fantastic. But I've been through this game before. I have gone through as a player, and you guys usually have the top-of-the-line events leading up to the bowl for the players, but this year is going to be different, and that's just the truth of the matter. How are you guys handling that, and what is that going to look like in regards to prizes and what the players will get and do before the game?
You're absolutely right. It'll be a little bit different. We won't be able to have the parades and the rodeos and the galas that we usually have, and the team welcome parties, going to Bass Pro Shops. And so the teams will be coming in on the 30th, and, of course, they're going to be very careful and safety conscious. And so they'll go to the Peabody and the Sheraton hotels. West Point will be at the Peabody, and West Virginia will be at the Sheraton. And then we'll have some hosting there on that night of the 30th. And then, of course, the game is at 3 p.m. on the 31st. So, yeah, that'll be a little different. But our gift package is one of the best in all of football. We have a gift card for Bass Pro Shop. So thanks to Bass Pro, $150 there. They can certainly use that online or back home since they won't have a chance to go over to the Pyramid. And then we got a great Nike package. And again, thank you to the Nike folks, Willie Gregory and his team, that includes a Nike backpack, Nike shoes, Nike slides, Nike sunglasses, a really nice package. And then we've got a really unique thing this year. We've got a Philips sound bar, these big, long sound bars that are hooked up to Bluetooth. You can either hook them onto your TV or hook it up with your, your phone and, music or TV. And so that's a nice electronic gift. Then we've got our commemorative game football. So our package is rated one of the very best as far as gifts for the players.
Yeah, y'all do a great job of making every single player on both teams feel special and feel like they have a place. Not just in this bowl game, but in the AutoZone Liberty Bowl's history. Now, Steve, obviously, I think that to a lot of people, and especially a lot of UT fans in this area, it was a little disappointing about the news with COVID-19 and the Volunteers having to pull out. I know within 3 hours of it being announced, I probably had 20 text messages of people who knew that you come on this show every day and were trying to see if I had an inside track to get them some tickets just in case they were unable to buy them themselves. So I know a lot of people were pretty upset. Have you had any conversations with the SEC that maybe next time Tennessee's right at about 6-6, 7-5, that you kind of get a guarantee in the future?
I think you may have hit it right on the head. We said, okay, something like, you owe us one. So in a friendly kind of way, we understand it was a unique year, and the COVID thing has turned everybody upside down here, in the country, and but we're really working hard to make sure that our game will be safe and secure, and we're going to be able to have certainly a limited number of fans this year, and so it wouldn't be like Tennessee bringing 55,000 like in a regular year with the opportunity to have the Vols in the game. But everybody coming to the game on next Thursday would need to wear a mask, and we have the social distancing. We'll have certainly the hand sanitizers all over the stadium, and it's an outdoor environment. That's the difference. A lot of people have been asking. It's certainly a different situation. All the doctors say being outdoors is a hell of a lot different than being indoors where you don't have the air circulation and so on. So that's why we're carrying on, and this is too important for our community. And again, with these 5 million hits that people are interested in, hopefully it just translates into huge television rating, and we get to showcase Memphis, our community, to the rest of the country, get the St. Jude message out, and especially with Army here, getting a chance to have that patriotic theme. And this is the first time we've ever had Army in the bowl. We've had Navy in the bowl, we've had Air Force in the bowl, but this is the first time for Army, and it's kind of interesting. The West Virginia was already planning to wear kind of a patriotic blue uniform with the red, white, and blue stars on their helmet. So that was already in their plans because of the tip to the AutoZone Liberty Bowl's patriotic origin. So it should be a really impressive game. And the Black Knights of the Hudson that's what the Army calls themselves. They always play a lot tougher than people think, and sometimes people put the service academies down. But remember, 3 years ago, I think the last time Army played, they played in the Armed Forces Bowl a few years back, and I think University of Houston was kind of high flyers, with their offense, and they were favored, and Army beat them 70-14. So you better watch out for Army. But West Virginia's got a really good, solid team. Their last game was kind of shut down. They got beat by Iowa State, who's now in the CFP, but they had a lot of players out that game. But they've got some NFL prospect defensive linemen. Their running back has got 1,000 yards, and good, tough team there in West Virginia. So it should be a really nice matchup, and we certainly want folks to come out and enjoy it. If you can't get there in person, tune in on TV and catch the game, because that's what we're all about, trying to showcase Memphis to the rest of the world.
Yeah, Steve, we are talking to Steve Earhart, the head honcho of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and I'm sure Mr. Brett Norsworthy would know the answer to this question like he knows the answer to pretty much any sports trivia question, but are y'all going to be the first bowl to have the Service Academy trifecta of having Navy, Army, and Air Force represented in your bowl game?
I think you're right on that. I was going to check that, but the stats man would know that.
Yeah,
we better get him to call in. But I think that's right, because we had Air Force, the folks from, remember back in the 89, 90, 91, and 2, we had a contract with the commanders-in-chief with all 3 service academies because of the patriotic theme of the bowl. And on whether good or bad, Air Force was so strong in those days. They won it 4 years in a row, so they were here 4 straight years. And then then that contract expired, and then we moved back over to the SEC and the Big 12, kind of the local connections. And then we tried to get Army involved in the contract with the American Conference, but of course Navy's in the American, and Navy and Army don't get along. You talked about go Army beat Navy or go Navy beat Army. That rivalry. So we couldn't make that work. But I'd stayed in close touch with the Army folks over the years, and when I pulled them out of meetings on Monday, we were able to connect and work out the negotiations there. But I think you're right that we may be the first bowl to have had all 3 service academies, and the fine young men that, it's amazing, because last year when we had Navy, when we're talking about those young men who were going off on their assignments, shortly after the game, some into the Marines, some, in intelligence, some overseas, it's really a pretty amazing, especially for the seniors. These kids, not kids, I shouldn't call them kids, these men, who are going on to defend our country, and the seniors this is their last football game, and then they go right into their commission as officers, going to lead our country. And so it's a real privilege to be able to host the Army, and again, hopefully Memphis will roll out the red carpet for the young men that are basically representing our country in this game. So yeah, we need to check, because when Army, the real old heads will remember, or historians like stats, back in the early days, Army was the best team in the country. They were playing Notre Dame, and what was it? The great running back, was it Doc Blanchard, and what was the name of some of the other great players?
That'd be more of a stats question.
Yeah, we need the stats to talk about that. When they were playing the Four Horsemen in Notre Dame, and the Army Notre Dame games were the biggest games going, but they never played in bowl games. So I think maybe Army's only played in six bowl games. Because they were often not able with the commission officers and getting ready for their service. But yeah, we're real proud, and that's part of our tradition and history. To have them in our game. I do want to give one shout out to folks around. Some of your listeners may remember Mike Longo, native Memphian. He's past president of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl, and now very current actively on our board of directors. And Mike played Bishop Byrne here in high school, and then went on to West Point, and I believe he played a line spot, offensive line. But what's unique, he graduated in 1982, and one of his teammates and classmates is the superintendent of West Point right now. So Mike's been on the phone the last 48 hours with the superintendent of West Point, and I know they're bringing down a number of generals here to come to Memphis for the game. General Ken Tovo, who we honored some years ago, was head of our forces in Afghanistan, won our Distinguished Citizen Award some years ago, and I think probably the Secretary of the Army will be here as well. So I just want to reach out to all Memphians. I hope we can roll out the carpet to the U.S. Military Academy, as well as West Virginia University. They've been really classy in working this out, having been prepared for an SEC team, and now they're preparing for Army West Point. So all in all, it's worked out very well. And again, we know we'll have a reduced audience there, but hopefully, if you can come out to the game, fine, or we host the folks when you see them around town there. Those couple days they'll be here, or catch it on television. They're a 62nd annual AutoZone Liberty Bowl game.
Steve, thank you so much for joining us. Merry Christmas, happy holidays to you and yours. And real quick, are there any tickets still available? And if there are, how do people get in contact with y'all to go ahead and snatch those up?
Yes, and we certainly have, because there's and we are covered to be able to have a spread out audience there. They come in pods of 2, 4, or 6, and then you've got 6-foot distancing. Need to wear your mask, but we still have good tickets available. I think the West Point side is getting pretty full, but the West Virginia side now, of course, that's limited, but we do have good tickets. You can get us by calling 795-7700, which is our office, 795-7700, or go to AutoZoneLibertyBowl.org. It's got to be .org. Remember that part. Or Ticketmaster has good seats on their Ticketmaster website if you're used to doing that, and you can get the virtual tickets, so you don't have to go hand to hand in there. But we certainly hope that the folks that want to come out will come out. It's a week from tomorrow, so boy, it's sneaking up on us in a hurry.
That it is, Steve. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks, Steve.
You have a great holiday and great. We'll talk to you next Wednesday, day right before the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. So take care, Steve, and thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. That is Steve Earhart, the head honcho Big Cheese of the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. We are up against our final break. When we come back, we'll close out not only hour 3 Wednesday, but we'll close out the week here for Sports Time with Wolo and Stats right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
Memphis Tiger fans, catch the Blue and Gray Show with John Stacy and Drew Barrett, Sunday nights from 5 till 7, right here on Sports 56, 98.5, and 96.1.
How's the Christmas shopping going? Frontier Western Store in Olive Branch is here to make it a lot easier. Everyone loves something from Frontier. Ladies' boutique style clothing, Carhartt for the guys, and boots for everyone. For Frontier's boutique department, you'll find the latest trends at incredible prices. We also carry a huge inventory of basics like leggings, tops, tunics, dresses, CC beanies, scarves, gloves, new styles of fleece jackets, and much, much more. Guys will be after Frontier's large assortment of Carhartt and Ariat jeans and shirts. Now, how about a new coat, jacket, or insulated overalls? Frontier has that too. Don't forget the boots. Work boots and dress boots from Rocky, Dan Post, Ariat, and more. Frontier is the place to come for name brand boots at an everyday low price. There are thousands of boots available in all sizes for men, women, and children. Frontier gift cards are also available and make a perfect last-minute gift. Frontier Western Store, 5880 Goodman Road in Olive Branch, or shop online 24/7 at frontierwesternstore.com. Family owned and operated since 1967.
Chris Price here for Brian Elder Roofing. The storms we've had over the past several months have been devastating to our communities. The rainy season is ahead. You may have not even noticed the dripping in your attic, water stains throughout your home, or even worse, mold and mildew. Please call Brian Elder Roofing and we will send out our project managers to assess any damage. We will not try to sell you a roof if all you need is a repair. We will measure your roof from outer space. 0% for 60 months, even no payments till 2022 are available with approved credit. If you've noticed missing shingles, water stains, leaks in your roof, call us before you call your insurance company at 867-0303. That's 867-0303, and we will provide a free, thorough inspection of your roof's condition.
Call 867-0303. Brian Elder's Roofing Solutions.
Experience elevated luxury at Genesis of Wolf Chase. Push the limits of style and performance with the all-new first-ever 2021 Genesis GV80. With the perfect balance of luxurious amenities and rugged off-road capabilities, or drive the cutting-edge G80 packed with intuitive technology and unmatched luxurious amenities. All with Genesis Concierge Service. Free pickup and delivery, free oil changes, and car washes. Shop online from the convenience of home now. Visit wolfchasegenesis.com.
Do you rent your home? Sure you do, and I bet it can be hard work. You know what's easy? Bundling policies with Geico. Geico makes it easy to bundle your renter's insurance along with your auto policy. It's a good thing, too, because you already have so much to do around your home. Go to geico.com, get a quote, and see how much you could save. It's Geico Easy. Visit geico.com today. That's geico.com. Again, that's geico.com.
Your crew has worked hard this year, so why not get them a gift to show your appreciation? Shop Lowe's for a DeWalt Power Tech 2-tool combo kit for $349. Mechanics wear Durahide Impact gloves at only $29.98. Or how about a Metabo HPT The Tank compressor for $199? Shop Lowe's in store or at lowesforpros.com. And while you're at it, pick up a little something for yourself too. Lowe's, the new home for pros. While supplies last, U.S. only.
Welcome back to Sports Time on Sports 56 with Waldo and Stats. This hour of Sports Time is brought to you by DeSoto Auto Sales. Here once again are Dave Wolosian and Brad Norsworthy.
Come on, Muhammad, we hit fame. We beat the world, we get fame.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy!
This is Geraldo. It is crunch time.
You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello,
Boop! You. What's happening, big dog? How you doing?
It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin, this baby is over.
On one, on two, on three. Hey!
Time for Taco Bell Crunch Time. Taco Bell, home of the crispy tortilla chips, topped with a double portion of either seasoned beef or shredded chicken, plus refried beans, nacho cheese sauce, reduced fat sour cream, guacamole, and a 3-cheese blend. Nachos Bel Grande, heaping portion of chips, topped with ground beef, tomatoes, beans, nacho cheese sauce, and a dollop of sour cream. Taco Bell, home to great food you get on your way home real fast, and they bring you crunch time every day.
Learned today that in the first month of legal online sports gambling in Tennessee, Tennesseans waged $131.4 million with a gross payout of $118.2 million, and the state of Tennessee collected $2.3 million from the activity. Now that, my good friend, is some gaming.
Yeah. A lot of money. A lot of money flying through with illegal gambling coming in. What I learned today, Daryl Morey, who's the new 76ers GM, a former Houston Rockets GM, thought that he would be blackballed by the NBA for his comments on China last year.
Can you blame
his
him?
quote was, "In the last 12 months, I had moments where I thought I might never work in the NBA again." And he says for reasons that he was willing to go down for.
I mean, you can't really blame the guy. You thought that it was a big possibility. We all speculated that he was going to be out of Houston at the end of the season anyways due to those comments, and then you thought maybe he would be blackballed by the National Basketball Association. Could have done without. I was going to talk about could have done without the Gasparilla Bowl being canceled due to South Carolina, But I just learned about this from a buddy of mine at the game. I asked him to pick me up a bowl program because I have every single program since the 2003 New Orleans Bowl, and they're not selling programs because Montgomery didn't have enough time to print them out. So I'm
They really did. It was short notice.
I know, but I'm upset, and that's what I could have done without because now my program streak comes to an end.
And you know what I could have done without is Josh Gordon.
On my program.
Josh Gordon, he had been picked up by the Seahawks, been reinstated conditionally, but he has now been placed on indefinite suspension again for violation of his reinstatement terms having to do with his abuse of drugs and alcohol. And at some point we have to say, I don't care about Josh Gordon, the football player. I care about Josh Gordon, the man, and we have to devote his time. We have to find a way maybe for Josh Gordon to say, okay, maybe it's time to get sober full-time instead of playing football. What are you keeping an eye on?
Keeping an eye on, obviously, the Montgomery Bowl tonight with the Tigers and Owls starting here in about 5 minutes. Grizzlies season opener at FedEx Forum versus the Spurs. All bowl action throughout the weekend. NFL for 4 straight days, starting on Christmas, NBA regular season, college basketball, and so much to watch and keep up with over the holiday weekend.
For me, same thing. Let's see what happens here in 4 minutes when the Tigers kick off against FAU. Grizzlies versus Spurs tonight. And then we have Christmas Day NBA games. Keep your eyes on those. We have 5 of them this year. In my opinion, my favorite day of NBA of the year. Warriors, Bucks, Pelicans, Heat, Nets, Celtics, Mavs, Lakers, Clippers, and Nuggets.
That is what you have coming up on Christmas Day. So that's our show. That's our week. As Christmas Eve is tomorrow, Christmas on Friday. We will be back. Dave Lotion and I will be back to take you through Monday and talk about all the things from the weekend. But want to definitely thank Dave Lotion for joining us from the Montgomery Bowl. Thanks to Mike DeCourcy, the Sporting News, talking CFP and college basketball. TJ Reeves for joining us. And, of course, I had a honcho from Steve Earhart from the AutoZone Liberty Bowl. That's our show. Everybody have a great holiday weekend. Merry Christmas to all of you out there. Thank you all so much for listening. For Gabe Kuhn, I'm Drew Barrett. Have a wonderful and blessed night.